Yo, hello, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Viggy, and I make videos, mostly of Yiddish. Fangen wir mit der heutigen Video. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you can be a channel member, that would be greatly appreciated. So please. Ook het hebben geliked in de chat, hebben geliked een link van Amazon. Ik ben een affiliate. Meaning, als je koopt aan zaken in Amazon, als je klikt die link, je mist je kopen die item. But once die klikt this, the next 24 hours, whatever you buy on Amazon will be going on my account and I give a kleine percentage. So, please. En ik wil zoeken schooien voor ieder eine, was had er schon getan. Ik geef maar kijk. Wer hat sich schon umgeriefen waren, do? 94 people haben geklickt. 94 clicks. Ich habe schon angekauft 5 items. I really do appreciate. Die Oilem, was hat angekauft? David. Hello and welcome. How you doing? Gang 98. Hello and welcome. Toby the Dove. Good evening, good night, good morning. How you doing? How you doing? Sam, non-Jewish nanny, is winning. Sam, hello and welcome. Hershey, dan Zieger. Hello and welcome. Vice versa. How you doing? How you doing? How was your day? Avrumi Licht. How you doing? What's going on? Good evening, Izzy. Good evening. How you doing, Izzy? Zwart me du bis de Oilem. Check that aan. We doen hebben 8:15. Whatever, Visa heißt es, whatever gewinnt. So vote. The 3 choices is, oder Pushet Pshat. Episode number 20 mit Avrumi Bernstein. Oder het me watchen the non-Jewish nanny for meaningful people. Oder het me watchen Nachiyavo Nissan Black. Vice versa. Fragt Viggy what we're doing. Ich lasse es immer für eng zu picken. Whatever you guys pick, I will watch. But until me wart, kann man gehen zu den Ayes. Met zijn we de oil is hij, met zijn we de oil hem wil. So far kijkt het zoals wie Nissan Black of Nachi's channel het gewinnen. What you waiting for? Mensen zullen voten. Mensen zullen naar aankomen en voten. Zoals zij doen in de naïs als India had initiated missile strikes. Operation Sindoor. Targeting what is described as terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan. This action follows a deadly attack in Pahalgam that killed at least 28 civilians. Pakistan reports civilian casualties and claims to have shot down several Indian aircraft. The situation has escalated tension between the two nations. Crazy. Die 2 states zijn een nuclear state. Nuclear power state. Just crazy. Brooklyn. Hello and welcome. Laat me das geben, maar kijk. Nog even gegeven mijn e-mail. Ik ben gewoon gereid. Gehand connected man, wie heißt das? Nicht Mans. The iPad. Why not Kirschenbaum? Why? Hello and welcome. Alles geht's. Hello and welcome.
So 40-50.
Brooklyn het müssen warten. Das Gerät von der? When you say 5 items, ich würde schon sagen, they should have total items shipped is 5. 5 items has been shipped. I guess se kick nur now once it's shipped. Schmiedekast is taking a break. Not so easy. Weiß ich nicht, Brooklyn. I really don't know. Kennt ihr nicht alles Arbeit auf der Affiliate-Link? Kennt ihr uns sich updaten morgen oder übermorgen? I'm not sure. How do I do affiliates? Like it on Amazon affiliate, become an affiliate, and there you go. We darfen dir approven. And boom, bist approved. So far kijkt es aus wie Jewish Nanny and Nissan Black are neck and neck. Jetzt können wir nicht du Atei. Viggy, let's go, the oil mit du. Lass mal das geben noch a few minutes. 4 Minuten, Chevra. Du, was fangen wir jetzt an? Jetzt fangen wir mit dem? Nachman. Nachman. How you doing? So, ich habe aufgesetzt, man, nicht mans, but an iPad. Sie können spielen PUBG. Sie können livestreamen PUBG. Hi, Sachuset. Hello and welcome. Yeah, the next story is actually Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney meets President Trump. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney meets with President Trump, at the White House today. Their meeting focused on blue relations trade of politics. Titzig. Pakistan India heating up, yes. Viggy White's gaming channel. We gaan maken a gaming section, yes. With Kerry showing no signs of backing down despite Trump's threats to make Canada the 51st state. Very fine. Er is wie een magician. Hij zoekt de kiek op de rechte hand en echt is busy met de linker hand. The Dow Jones Industry Average fell nearly 400 points, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq experienced back-to-back losses. Investors are waiting an update on the trade deals and the Federal Reserve policy decisions. My arbeit of the news channel. We are working on the news channel. But had heb ik opgezet, the iPad. And we will see how we'll do it. No voting or someone playing a game? Mistam spielt einer a game. Sie geht doch heim, because let's be real. Let's give him noch a minute. So far kijkt het zoals we Nissim. Be non-Jewish nanny is got it by far. Trump hat gesagt, als gemacht hat Deal mit den Houthis, nicht zu sein Bomben anymore. And the Houthis don't want war anymore. So sie haben mal a ceasefire. Sally. Hello, Sally. But so far is the Jewish nanny winning. JH, travel. Hello and welcome. Ik heb schon gewoond. CG. Hello and welcome. All right, we'll give it another 10 seconds. Votes. So far, kiekt het non-Jewish nannies winning. Ja, takke, weet je dat bij college? What am I missing? Snel schicken aan links. What's this? Push button, mostly copy paste. Every week bring up an old rich man. All right. Okay, let the results zurückkommen. Waterbury is Rosh Yeshiva. Wait, hold on. Is it this guy? No. Sally doesn't seem like it went through. I didn't get nothing from Sally. But all right. Time to watching the non-Jewish nanny. It's finally time to tell you everything. It's finally time. Now takes it 111,000 views. Let's get into it.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Meaningful People podcast.
Okay.
I missed you guys. I'm so happy to be back here.
So glad.
Brand new episode, and this is a big one with the now Jewish nanny, Adina, Adriana. An incredible episode.
Totally.
I was so happy to record this, and I can't wait to present it to you. This episode is sponsored by my friends at PZ Deals. Yes. Before we do anything else, make sure to...
As your friend. Ich habe nicht gewusst, dass die kennst, der Owner von PZ Deals. Man nützt hand Friends, der Wort Friends, also wie man kauft Soda in der Grocery.
Head to the App Store, the Google Play Store, and download the PZ Deals app. Because when it comes to buying...
Okay, not interested. Wenn ich jemand dich zu hören.
Enjoy. Adriana.
Hi.
Welcome to Meaningful People.
Thank you.
Whole world's about to hear your story.
I know.
The whole world. 111,000 people.
People have been thinking about it, and they've been singing a lot about it, but no one knows the entire thing yet.
Because it's long. It's like not a black and white answer.
So let's get into the color.
Sie hat gesagt, der Yiddish, Let's redo the vote, Viggy. I should redo the vote? What's this? I guess we'll have to do it tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, okay, fine.
That's awesome. That's great. So
The vote was rigged? All right. We got überlegen the vote, do. All right, let's do the vote. Hold on. Sounds wie eine wilde andere. This is the last time I'm doing this. Gotta make it too big to rig. I know. All right, hold on. Okay, we'll do this slowly but surely here. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna get options, Tolins. Get me the options. This in black, hold on. Push it, shot. I gotta put in all. Hold on, push up shot. And the next one will be oh, it's the same dude. Hold on. Meaningful minute. Acclaimed educator. I can't hold it inside anymore. That will be this one. Rebecca Kalish. Copy. Hold on. Geef guys in the situation. In a minute. Kalish. En nu doe a dritte, a verde. This guy. Living L'chaim. There it is. Ga dan like Living L'chaim. Let's do it this way. Hold on. Oh, Makesh and Shad maybe feed. Okay. This is what it is. Guys should vote. Give it 5 minutes. Fin a minute. Come on, peoples. Podcast so boring. Do music. Maybe do some music today. Hershey Green. Hello and welcome. Svira kip mich raus, can get the music. Rigged again. Jetzt will ich schon stehen mit die Schreis wie Trump. Sie rigged. Ich fühle nicht, wie sie kommt raus, gibt mir Musik. Ich kann nicht lieb die ganze Sweden Musik, habe ich nicht lieb. So da kommt mich echt raus mit Musik. Okay, 8:22. 8:25 stopt zich de votes. There's a lot of old stuff to review. Schick een e-mail zu viggyvibes@gmail an die hast anliegen, wo die willst, dass ich soll reviewen. That's how it goes. It's going the wrong way. So far, kick this good. Easy, be back on 10. Last minute voting, yes. I have a problem that I can't take my daily walks because of the rain. I darf rausgehen anyways. Darf sich unten in a jacket mit a Schirm and just go raus, walken. Okay, jetzt fangen wir an 8:25. I'm going to the graveyard to get them votes. Du arbeit nicht kann mailen ballots, huh? For $1.99 super chat, you can switch your vote. Sally, you see what's happening? Sadly, you see what's happening? You're getting outvoted. Hershey. Heißt ich, es fragt Sadly zu erkennen. Viggy, how many Amazon clicks a day? Ich weiß nicht. Ich bekomme es a Tag später, to be quite honest. Sie geben mir ein Update später. Sally, I didn't see it. I didn't look at it that way, by the way. $8.24, fin a minute. How many screens do you have? Ich habe eins in der Laptop, eins was arbeitet und der andere was ist nicht kein guter Ratio, so ich nutze es nur für die Comments. Bei der ich habe gepostet meinen Amazon-Link. Die kauf Sachen auf Amazon, you don't mind. Click auf den Link, you don't have to buy the item. But the next 24 hours that you do buy, give me a percentage. Sadly, the Jewish nanny is winning. 8:25, gotta finish the poll. I'll give it 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry, Sally. Boys prefer a cute chick. Penny G. I don't think it's that. Ich habe es einfach nicht umgekickt. Der Weg, to be quite honest. But again, that doesn't mean anything. Sally, the Oilam Agaret. The Oilam spoke. And I little. Ich habe es nicht so umgekickt. Ich habe es umgekickt. Stam, sie geworden ein Yid. Why? I don't know. Lass mal hören ihre position. Viggy is so innocent.
Take it. I mean, like, for those who are listening, you were a non-Jewish nanny. Now you're a Jewish nanny. That's, spoiler alert, you converted. Amazing. But we're going to start at, like, the beginning.
Yeah.
Tell me. Yeah.
The whole reason I'm like...
Ze kicked those out Yiddish, I must say. Because she was a nanny. Family B. Hello and welcome. I think she's going to explain her life story.
Thankful to be here and share my story in this way is one of the reasons I didn't share it online the entire journey. When people would say to me, are you going to convert? When are you going to convert? Are you converting? Like, maybe I could have taken the route where I was going to say yes or no or whatever. I'm thinking about it, given an answer. But I always used to say, like, it's not a one-word answer. It's a 2-hour conversation. And like, I don't want to cheapen my authenticity of like my true answer of, there were times where I didn't want to convert and I wasn't. And also times where, like I said, I was converting. And then if someone says, are you going to convert? And then if you say yes, and then they go, why? You know, like.
Yes. Why? Why would you do that? Just saying.
Honestly, most responses when people would find out is like, why would you do this? Like, you know, you have to eat kosher. Like one of my really good friends, like the first time I told her, she goes, you know, you can't brush your hair on Shabbos, right? And I was like, I do know, but you know, but like, my point is like, yeah, it just opens up a whole longer conversation.
Does she have palm ties?
Sure,
yeah.
and we're here.
No,
so
she's not a real Yid.
Who is Adriana growing up?
I grew up in Florida, Sarasota, Florida area, and not many like Jewish people there. There are obviously Jewish people there, but like not Orthodox. And
the problem is, wenn sie outshint alle Chassidische, was dürfen sie kennen die Sachen, kennen gut nicht, und sie kennen es auch besser.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like really, like growing up, I didn't understand why people who were Jewish, like it was so much of their identity. Like I'm Jewish, and I'm like, okay, like I'm Christian. Like why are you walking around? Like I don't get it. And
yeah. You were Christian?
Because the Yidden halten uns als einen besser. Mifchid mit der ganzen Sache.
You were Christian?
I grew up Christian, yeah.
Was it like a...
She does look like a typical Bes Yaakov Meidl. Sie hat der look. Bald man noch über sie Yiddish.
A strong core value?
Yeah, I think, of course, like Christianity has strong core values of like similar to Noahide laws, but I know it gets like a little gray area in certain places, but overall, like when people always say to me, were you an observant Christian? And I'm like, when you're saying that to an observant Jew, there's nothing to compare because it's a, you know, it's
she's an OTD Christian.
Night and day when it comes to like the levels of what to observe. And for example, I went to Florida State University, very big state school, party school. And yeah, like when it came to like meeting Jewish people, like it's a moment I like to share out of like humility, because I was like at a bar one time and a guy was like, he was wearing a necklace and he was like really being pushy about like having my friends and I like do shots. And I was like, oh, well, why are you, wearing this so proudly, whatever. And then they're so like, I guess it's so much of their identity. And I just really saw Judaism as like a religion, not necessarily like such a culture, way of life, like,
Right.
but I didn't understand why like they were, but no, like when I went to Florida State and it was a big like party school and I was
No
in with
idea how
like
that
people
gets-
who, they were also Jewish, and I didn't really understand why it was so much of their identity and they didn't live their life much differently than I did. And not that that's the problem, but it wasn't until I moved to Boca, a lot of events in the, meantime, but I started nannying for an Orthodox Jewish family in Boca, the Circle. They're still like to this day one of the
Ich habe gesagt, so ein Circle. Geht.
most religious families. And I was like, okay, this is Judaism. This makes sense why you're saying I'm Jewish. Like when they hired me, they said, we're Jewish.
In der Gerre sogar, in der jiddische Welt, man accept dich as a ger, but not really. You're never really apart from us.
Is that okay? And I
Let's
was
be
like,
real.
oh, what does that matter? Like, yeah, there's a lot that goes into
Sie hat nicht der jiddische, a jiddische Meidl redt nicht so. Also open. Man kann sehen, als sie nicht kein Jid gewesen.
it.
So what
A jiddische Meidl sagt mehr idle, oder mehr shy, nicht experience zu reden so. A jiddische Meidl geht nicht in a bar, she's never open to that, so sie redt anders.
exactly did you what exactly went into that for you? Were you totally like caught off guard? Like, what is this? There are these customs, these rules. What are they doing? What are these kids doing?
I like said recently that like I looked back at my old TikTok videos like
Sie sagt like that, like.
a couple months ago, and I was like crying of laughter, and I was like, no wonder people like this, because like I remember like maybe
Flatbush Girl is one girl out of millions. Not millions, obviously, but out of a whole bunch.
these videos, and like it was so true. I was learning on the spot, and like I say, like every time in Judaism, and as a Jew too, like you think you know something, like bam, like no, surprise, like there's something else, like you're confused, like kosher laws. I was like, okay, fine. Kosher is more than just not eating cheeseburger or bacon. Kosher means a symbol. This has a kosher symbol. I brought my nanny kids cookies that I baked in my oven, and the dad was like, spit them out, because like spit them out. And I was like, what? They're kosher. And like, it's like another learning curve. But I found it interesting.
This family they were pretty religious. Like they're very firm, you'd say.
They really are. Like, and when it comes to my journey of discovering Judaism, that is how I saw Judaism, Orthodox Judaism. So when it came to conversion, I slowly, like I said, events happened, but I started to see the beauty in their observance in life. But it's intimidating when they're, like I always say, like I tell my nanny families, like you should be so proud of yourself. Like you are my goal still to this day. It's intimidating though. I think like I could never be that sneeze. I couldn't keep Shabbos. Like most people.
Und dann darf man watschen, wenn man hat non-Jewish people over the house, darf man behaven, weil man hat Augen. Man hat Augen.
When you think about keeping Shabbos, like I quit my entire technically career as an opera singer. Like,
You were an opera singer.
yeah, I have a master's degree in vocal performance.
Is it you got that at Florida State?
I got my undergrad at Florida State. And I've sung at like professional. I sang in Germany, Kansas City. I started singing opera when I was 12 in Sarasota. And then I came to FAU for my grad school, which is like a much smaller school.
Sie gegangen in School und geworden noch der nanny.
But I was a
What's
teacher
happening?
there, and that's why I can say the chach so well, because I was a diction teacher for German, French, Italian.
Wow.
And so like I would go to grad school.
Sie definitely read very quick and the ganze Sache. Sie kommt daran, sie matcht daran, she's gonna do the nails.
Nanny for the kids after school, and then during my contract, during season, like sing opera. Yeah.
She has to make the
Wow.
shake.
That's
Geht.
I know
I'm not
that.
sure how we got here, but
I know that about
Yeah.
you. But so I guess take me through the process of you're a nanny and you decide, oh, I'm gonna make this platform non-Jewish nanny. Why? What went into that?
that's not how it started. And
Tell me.
I'm so like glad to explain a lot of things.
Chorach munus auf iman, to be quite honest, wenn sie geht gassen Because ob sie geht gassen mit einer, was kommt von der jüdische community, usually, wo man nehmen a break, jeder eine lets loose at certain points, and sie geht sagen, you're crazy, ich bin geworden a Jid, we gotta get more stricter. Das geschehen teilweise zu Balchivas, sie werden Zikuku, so that might happen.
I'm not a nanny for one family. People literally commenting, what? what is your family going to do on Shabbos now? I'm like, first of all, my families are, even though I think too religious to be using a Shabbos goy, they're like, no, we don't even want to get near that. But
Oliver zei lacht because he got those the secrets.
I was essentially a babysitter because I started working in their community, and I just started with one family. They randomly hired me off of care.com, which is like Hashgacha Pratis, like Hashem.
Hashgach prachas.
Her name was Hadassah. I literally have her contact still saved as Miss Hadassah because it was such a weird name that I was like, this must be her last name. And then I arrived to go meet the kids. I feel like I can't share their names because all the Jewish kids have the same name.
Yeah, Moshe, Chaim.
I know 5 Ellies, I know 5 Elizas, whatever, but I show up and I see, a girl and I think, okay, this must be Ellie. Like, why is there a boy here? And then the boy's Ellie, the girl's Eliza. And the mom basically says to me, only feed them snacks from this closet and only use
Good at Yiddish. Hello and welcome.
the paper utensils. Like, bye. I had to babysit them like 40 minutes after school. The kids loved me. All the neighbors, and like now I understand the Jewish community, word travels fast. Like, who is this babysitter? I would go to like La La Land and be with the kids. They're like, do you take other kids? And I'm like, sure. Like, and so I started to just go from house to house to house to house. They lived so closely, so perfect, convenient. And I would like get these ones ready for school, drop them off at school, then go pick up the baby, like then go to another house. Then this mom wanted her nails done. This one wanted Trader Joe's, and then I would go to all their houses and then pick the others up from school, play date. Yeah, and then just got bigger and
Sie hat Saturday.
bigger. Like, I was already a very busy nanny as just a nanny, not
You
a
were a
nanny.
nanny.
Oh, so the actual show. The nanny. Sie had dezelfde idea wie Fran.
For like,
Flushing
how many families
Queens.
at once?
Oh my gosh, like when I say like my nanny moms, my nanny kids, like I have hundreds of people I've nanny for. Sometimes they come from New York for sukkahs. I've never seen them again. Like,
Wow.
I have so many nanny families, and it's amazing. Like, when it comes to like New York, okay, I know people in Tom's River, Brooklyn, like 5 towns, and it's like, they're my families, my nanny kids, like they're the best. But yeah, the word spread fast of like, there's this girl, she's not Jewish, she can work on like Chag, and she knows everything about Judaism. Like, don't worry.
So did you actually know everything about Judaism? And if so,
How would you know everything about Judaism? Menschen, was leben mein ganzes Leben as a Jew, haben nicht keine Ahnung wegen Jiddischkeit. Sie het wissen?
Still don't know anything. You don't know.
Yeah.
No one knows everything.
no, that's
like,
true. Yeah. But like, what was that process of learning?
So okay. So I started exactly knowing nothing. And the kids, like I said, the parents, the adults would, I think, sugarcoat as adults we do. This is a crazy concept. A non-Jewish person can't even grasp this. This probably sounds like too much work, and they don't need to know. Why does she need to know? Like, that we're gonna sleep in our sukkah. This, like, no, like, we don't need to know that, not Chabad families, but like, basically,
The Chabad family schluffen in the sick, I guess.
the kids though, I think it was like some of the kids, I was their first exposure to like someone who looked, I didn't dress like them, but I was American speaking, and then I started to catch on very quickly. But then, so I think they couldn't grasp, like, maybe she's Jewish, she's not religious, like they didn't know, and they're also kids, and yeah, they're brutally honest about my sneeze and like, how would you not know that? Like, that's the fleshek knife. Like, and then they would bring home their art projects, and I'm like, what is this? And then they'd be like, let's do our Hebrew homework. And I'm like, Bestie, I can't read a single thing. like literally, like I have like the picture. I call her my mini Mora, teaching me like the Aleph Beis. And she's like, no.
How old is she?
She now is, I think, almost like 8 or 9, but now she was like 5 or 6 in the video. And she's like, why don't you know Aleph Beis? And I'm like, because like, I don't know it. Maybe I don't know it at all. I'm not Jewish. And she's like, okay, we're going to do it together. Follow me. And they're like, why don't you know this? I'm going to teach you.
These kids made you Jewish.
Yeah.
That's a
These kids didn't make it Jewish. The kinderen behaved shine. That's why she...
remarkable thing.
So-
A 5-year-old kid
Yeah.
taught you the Aleph Beis.
Mm-hmm.
Then where then?
Yeah. They taught me a lot more than that. Like, they taught me about shetels. They taught me about kosher. They taught me about sukkahs, Pesach, like everything, the Parsha stories. They come home with like all their stuff, what's tzitzis, what's like the talis, like, why does daddy have one? Do you have one? And because I'm interested, I think I always had a Jewish neshama. I said, like, you guys saw it before.
Oh, jeez. Das triggert. Ich denke mir vielleicht sagen, Johnny hat eine Schumme. No. If you believe in this, well, how would you have eine Schumme?
Before I did, I realized, like I said, I was dating a non-Jewish. My boyfriend was not Jewish, obviously. I'd go home and like we'd go on a date, and I'd be like at the menu, like, you could make this kosher if you just like did it without the cheese. And he'd be like, stop doing that. And he's like, I don't care. Like, and I would talk, I was so interested. And so when the kids, like, I'd say, what is this? Tzitzis. I'd be like, why do you wear it? And she doesn't. Oh, it's for boys. Does daddy wear it? Yeah. Oh, like, you know, like, what does it mean? Oh, it's when davening. And these kids know everything. The kids know everything. And that's why, like, a big mission of mine, like, now is like, I just raised, thank you to everyone, like, over $20,000 for my school, that one of the schools I work at, because these kids like learn their Judaism and they live it and they love it and they love Hashem. And like I always say, I didn't learn Judaism through like a book or my rabbis. Like I learned the other things that plenty, but I learned to love Hashem and Judaism through them because they loved it. Pure, innocent eyes. And
that's amazing. But you had a strong interest and curiosity, meaning many people in your situation could just hear these things and go on with their job, go home, go out to eat pork, whatever it is, you know?
Eat pork. Deze bij hem de zag. Deze bij hem de 10.
You're really interested. You were soaking it up like a sponge.
I still definitely went out and ate pork and oysters and all that. But yeah, because it was weird.
Sorry about that sound.
Think about how weird it sounds.
Oops.
Like, first of all, I did not know these women were wearing wigs. And I remember like
you did not know?
No. Wow. Because why was that your initial thought? You know what I mean? Like it's not. I mean, maybe if you grew up in Boca, you know, those are the Orthodox Jews, whatever. Like, no, I literally went there to babysit at night for like one of the first times. Like at night, they were going on like a parent conference or something. And I'm texting the mom and I get in the bedroom.
You can see the emotions, the emotional roller coaster there.
See like the hair, and so I'm like thinking she's in her room getting ready and she's just texting me and I'm like, she's so quiet in there, and she goes, I'm not home, and I go like,
there's
what?
someone in your room,
and I'm like in my head, I'm like, what on earth? And
Wat zei ze? Je weiß nicht veel wigs? In de droogste gewelden is doe aan wigs? What is she saying?
I literally didn't know they had wigs, and why would that be my initial thought?
Right.
And I didn't want to ask, but like I literally was like, oh my gosh, like they have these very, very good paying jobs, like doctors, anesthesiologists, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she must be sick. Like they live in like this, like, you know, modest house, and like, you know, they're such like humble people, and like, wow, like she must have alopecia or maybe cancer. Like, what on earth? And like, I worked for multiple Jewish families at this time, so I didn't say anything to the adults because I was embarrassed. But then I saw the kids.
Verstaan is, je gezien jeder einer gaat alopecia, but zit er something gered vind?
Hey, by the way, like, does mommy wear a wig? And then they were like, that's your real hair. That's what the little one says. And then he goes, of course that's her real hair. She's not married. And I'm like, why would it be not my real hair? And then they were like, when Jewish women are married, you know, they wear wigs. And I was like, okay.
Do they know why? It's complicated.
I think
gemeint dat de kinderen wijzen alles. Oh, all of a sudden they don't know.
That's exactly touch yourself.
So that's how you learned. That's how you learned. So what led to? At what point did you start your pages of non-Jewish nanny?
Okay, fine.
Like what was the moment you said, I'm going to do that?
Yeah, I didn't say that. It just happened. Like I actually made content. I went on TikTok and I just started posting like everyone did. Like no one cares. It's just TikTok. My username was Adriana Rosie, same as my Instagram, linked to my personal Instagram, like LOL, like South Florida
No idea, not following whatsoever. LOL.
Girl, like, and yeah, that was like my personal nothing about content. And I posted about everything, being an opera singer, being I was a bartender, and being like a non-Jewish nanny for
just imagine Z as a bartender. Oh, phew. Kop, I'm waiting to happen.
Orthodox Jewish families. And like, one of my first videos that went viral, I was
saying the oil has gewollt. I mean, you know,
saying I'm a non-Jewish nanny for Orthodox Jewish families because I thought it was so cute.
She macht es sound wie sie ist der einzigste der einzigste nanny in der ganze Yiddish community.
And I thought the people that would find the differences in our lifestyles entertaining were other non-Jews like me. My nanny kids always were like, so then you're not Jewish. Do you celebrate Halloween and Christmas? You know, they're like, oh, like, you know, you're lucky. And I was like, oh yeah, but like, you know, you have Hanukkah and you have I didn't know about Purim, but whatever. They're not that equivalent.
Hold on. Sie weiß von Hanukkah, wo soll sie nicht wissen von Purim?
And then they go, one of the kids one time goes, but you have Labor Day. And I was like,
we all have Labor Day.
You know, in my head, I'm like, okay, that's not so that like big of a deal. And then one time I love Valentine's Day. I said like, guys, like, did you guys make your Valentine's Day like boxes? And like, you know, of all the schools in.
Ich kann fühlen, dass wir 2 Wochen noch, wenn wenn man wohnt mit ihr, just daran walken mit a bed. Puh! Eat this for dinner, miss.
Boca to allow, not this school, by the way. And the kid goes, we don't worship St. Valentine. I was like, okay, I don't either. I'm like, let's calm down now. Like they literally, like they took everything so literally because
Not even that
they
funny.
Don't know. A lot of people don't know.
Not my type. Maybe Scott, maybe duct tape.
Oh, and I'm like, no one does worship St. Valentine. Like I'm just wearing
Duct
pink.
tape.
And I would make videos about that, thinking it was so cute. And the people
By the way, I think her becoming a Jew should have given away everything.
who thought it was funny were the Jews who were like, how is this non-Jewish girl? No, all this stuff. And
Google. Als je moet het vindt, Google. Bekend vragen andere mensen.
it's like I had special kids, multiple kids. Like, you know, I have a couple original ones that like they just yap and
They just yap. I
always
see.
say, like,
I
my
see.
number one kids, the boy is like a rabbi, like he's like a tzaddik. He's so like learned, like he knows like halakha. Like and then the little
Or
girl.
is he like 7?
Yes, I am getting triggered.
Now he's turning his bar mitzvah next year.
Wow.
Yeah, but he
He's
started
probably
at
so
7.
proud.
Viggy, calm down, triggers.
When I showed him my when I showed him my conversion certificate, he double checked it and goes, "Okay, yeah, the rabbi's legit." Meanwhile, everyone online was like, "We love you,"
And he's like-
and my own was like, "How the heck this girl come from wearing tank?"
All right. No patience for this. Bakim Akobvai. Whew. X that. Jesus. Major Kobvai. All right. Whew. Why are you triggered? Weil sie schreit und sie macht das Sound, wie sie der Einzigste, die hat ausgelernt, ist sie beautiful, und jeder einer weiß. Chillax. Okay? Calm down. Sie hat mit dem gewollt Community. Yiddishkeit von den draußen kickt aus. Very sweet, very cute. Man kommt sich zusammen peisig, man kommt sich zusammen piram. War bis sie hat Chassan, bis die Community warft raus, weil man geht hier nicht Respekt in der Weg, wie sie meint sie ist. Alright, we're moving forward. Die Oile mal gewollt du Kalish. Nicht Kalish, ja. Rabbi Daniel Kalish, 2 days ago, 41,000 viewed for a meaningful minute. Let's get into it.
Whoa. Hello. Welcome to another episode. A few quick announcements.
Singt auch het? Hello.
I want to get to this episode really, really quickly. Now, I want to
Love,
as well,
lighting.
So just bear with me. A few quick announcements. First
Hello
of all,
and
this
welcome.
episode, first ever live podcast, live audience by Pesach with Bordeaux. It was absolutely incredible because Ray Kalish is next level. What a conversation. People literally walked first to videos playing in my follow. Tennis watch your tracking.org. Now head into people.
15
Thank you
minute.
for joining me for a live podcast here at Bordeaux. How's the going so far for you?
Great. Baruch Hashem.
Heard you're keeping people up in the lobby until 4 a.m. What is going on over there? It's getting pretty loud. I'm on the 10th floor and I hear you. I can't imagine what the second and third floor are like. And they pay extra, no? They're such good floors. So we're going to have a really honest conversation about chinuch, education. And I think off the bat, I want to just
He is a real Jew. Wer is?
address the elephant in the room.
The title of the video is I Can't Hold It Inside Anymore. Acclaimed Educated. Okay, lass mal sehen, sie geht sagen etwas. In wo er geht sagen, lass mal sehen, sie geht actually geschehen. It looks like
Now
my
you guys are
Kahan.
interested, right? That sounds
Good
very
one,
serious. Pepsi or Coke? No, I'm kidding.
The guy sounds serious, nor die is the one who's red. All right. Whew. The previous one, ik went terrible. Terrible. All right. How was that with yet?
There are
Thank
those
you,
who
Alex.
criticize your approach to chinuch as too lenient, as too open,
Sadly.
as too unconditional. If they were listening to this right now, what would you say to those people?
I would definitely say Guten Morgen, that's for sure.
Let's say it's not.
Finny.
Right. Then what do you guys say?
Yeah, Brumi got it. Nice.
I stomped you with that one, huh?
Oh, you really jumped right in. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. We didn't waste any time.
Yeah. Who wants small talk? You guys aren't here for small talk. You know, no small talk time. We have a concert here.
PUBG Master. Sally. Sally, thank you so much. You stop playing PUBG. By the way, ich habe früher gesagt, at the beginning finde das, als ich connected the iPad, it's working, und ich gehe unheim spielen PUBG live. But nicht für jetzt.
Hour, you know.
It would really, the conversation would backtrack, and somebody would say your approach in chinuch. I would ask them what chinuch is, and when you say your approach, and before we get in any debate, any conversation, to me, a very secular mindset of what chinuch is like
Brooklyn. Hello, Brooklyn. Thank you.
manipulations, how to manipulate kids to do things. That would be a very Western and secular approach to education. How do we get a room full of kids to do something that we want? And I think the Western world would view that as a good educator. If you're a grand manipulator, so you're a good educator. And then that would sometimes somebody coming, what's your approach in chinuch? Says, how do you manipulate guys? Do you use the love thing, or you use punishments, or you lose? I think it's first important to establish that a mechanech, an approach in chinuch, as parents, as yeshivas, is to try to present something authentic, something that rings true, something that's honest. I think it's very hard to be honest. In our own private lives, it's hard to be honest and authentic. It's hard.
Chaim.
We have many things we want to run from and ignore, and it's easier to present than to turn in and be honest. To then be honest, you know how hard it is? Do you know why your podcast is scary? You know what's scary?
My podcast?
Any.
Okay. That's fair.
Yours, do you know why your podcast is scary? And you know why the generation of today love podcasts? I would love to stand here and give a speech. I'd love now, I'll give a speech. A podcast asks, you're asking questions, and it says no speech. A podcast would like that I would curse.
Whoa.
Now,
Didn't see you going there.
a podcast once dropped no speaking. Don't get up and say a speech. Like really, what's behind you? What's behind the speech? What's inside? It's difficult. I could say I'll do a podcast and then turn things into speeches. A podcast said, "What are you feeling?" So
I like that.
if somebody comes and attacks, what would you say? First thing is I'd be very scared. Oh my gosh! Oh no, they're attacking! Oh no, who am I? What do I say? So there are a lot of things I feel, but I want to express.
Chaim, just dir du sein. It's just as much as geben Geld. It's always the thought that counts.
About chinuch is it's very hard to be honest.
Yes.
Very hard to ever be with yourself alone in a room. It's hard to be honest. Then stand.
Totally looked, I'm hearing speeches here. Es ist also ein Mix. Es ist a speech mit a podcast zusammen. We're gonna give him time.
In front of a classroom of kids, it's double hard to be honest. You're in front of people and you're trying to be sincere, authentic, and real. To me, the best mechanchim and mechanchos in the world are people that not just could be honest in private, but standing in front of youngsters or any age people can then be honest and real and authentic. Even the sharing of Torah is something that hits you, and then you share it from that space, a very honest space. So that was what, to me, that's what would be a good mechanech, somebody who's honest and sharing something honest.
And by the way, honesty kommt heran, wenn die willst etwas suchen für einen, ist his ego, und die suchst das nicht, because it's not honest. It doesn't come from a good place.
Somebody would ask that your approach is to just love them and things like that. That's not the approach. It's not.
So you want to clear that up then?
I think somebody should be honest. And what I'm trying to do, personally trying in my own life, is I'm trying to be honest. It's a journey.
Urban sucht mir, dass man will testen, wie honest einer ist. Mach a WhatsApp-Group. Man soll machen auf der WhatsApp-Group, als whenever einer schickt a Message, kann es keiner nicht sehen, wer so geschickte Message. Es die sehen, wer Menschen werden honest.
To honesty, to authenticity, and I'm trying to share something.
I know zero honest rabbis. Sadly, that makes most of us here.
honest. So it's not a sheet of some just love. Actually, the guys who've taught me a ton, you know, the guys hate the word a warm Rebbe. The guys make fun of a warm Rebbe. Can we have warm Rebbeim? To the guys that are the most cynical about a warm Rebbe. That's not to rip any person. People are trying. A warm Rebbe sees kids, and maybe if they're a little difficult or,
I don't think he's talking about that type of warm, Sally.
you know, struggling. So be nice to the struggling ones. That's the mashmois. The implication of a warm Rebbe is like he's trying to be warm. Don't be warm.
So when einer get criticism, and he kicks the moon like, why are you giving me criticism? No, it's constructive. I'm like, no. You're just throwing the word constructive noch them. To do a chilik zwischen constructive criticism and noch them just do criticism.
Don't be cold. Be you. Be you. Be present. Be honest.
As much as
So
possible.
that's the approach would be an attempt to try to be honest. It's less shitadik. It's less like philosophically what we hold and what works for me and what works for the friends that I'm close to.
I think you're.
But it's very schwer to sein honest. I mean, you really have to be able to put things in perspective and verlieren friends. Because sometimes you say the honest thing, you're going to lose a friend. And then fangst du schon drehen, bist nicht so honest, es wird schon easier, und sie ist gut nicht geschehen nicht. And then one honesty goes after the other. So, it's a größte sacrifice when I'm honest. Trust me, I know.
What you built with Waterbury, if we can call it that, right? It's very, at the time, it was very revolutionary. There really weren't many yeshivas like that. I still think there aren't. So I think anyone who's
Hat a Yeshiva? Hat sich nicht introduced. Wer ist
doing something like that is vulnerable to criticism. Do you think that you're misunderstood in your mission?
He's getting right into it.
What do you think this was? You thought I was going to ask you what you ate for dinner today? I know you had steak. Do you guys?
Ich habe nicht verstanden the question.
Do you think that you're misunderstood in your mission?
He's getting right into it.
What do you think this was? You thought I was going to ask you what you ate for dinner today? I know you had steak. Do you guys want me to ask less intense questions?
No.
Okay.
Einer hat mir Hand gesagt, es sei gering zu schreiben deine Opinion, wenn die heißt nicht deine echte Nummern. Like deine echte Nummern, like a picture von dir auf dein Profile, and lass mir sehen, damals red. Whole nother discussion. Talk about honesty.
It's only getting hotter from here. But yeah. Are you misunderstood or English?
Misunderstood by Weyman. Ich bin ein bisschen verloren.
I'm so intense with the mic. Are you?
I can't answer the question. I don't feel misunderstood. I'll say
Darf reden zu ihm, nicht zu der Eulam.
that. I want to say the following point. I'll even ask a question on the yeshiva. I'll be nachi
By the way, so geht es, sage ich. Wenn man fragt jeder question, kommt zurück mit der question of the question. Das ist doch der Territz.
for a minute. You be Daniel. I'll be nachi.
That's not fair.
But I want to reframe when you say you're misunderstood. One of the questions that often asked is Waterbury lechatchila or b'diavad?
It's a good question.
Wusste mit
Yes
der
or no? What is
Wusste mit der Waterbury Yeshiva? Is it a different type of yeshiva? Like, what am I missing? I am missing information about the ganze yeshiva, wo sie ertet. And wusste der chilik zwischen seiner yeshiva and somebody else.
So, lechatchila.
So what do you expect, Viggy? People to come here with their private... No. Hanisch kein issue. Kannst kommen, wie du willst. But wenn man redt von, sie sein honest oder nicht, oder suchen deine Opinion, sag es mit, die was gesucht, dieselbe Opinion, mit einer echten Nummern. Some people wouldn't say that. Sie suchen nur Sachen, because they have different names. Sie heißen Heißachus oder Brooklyn oder wer noch. Namen, was man kennt. It doesn't identify as them. Then as a Sach mehr los, they're more honest.
No, but I want to.
There we go.
I want to explain like this. Every base medrash in the world is not for everybody. There's no base medrash that everybody learns in. So we have batei midrashos across the world. Every base medrash is learning Torah and producing a truth that should impact the entire.
Wie sei es dir gesagt? Heiße Chus hat etwas gesagt wegen, es ist nicht so important, die Menschen suchen Sachen. Hab ich gesagt, happens to be, Hand aber gerät, als einer hat mir gesagt, es sei gering zu suchen Sachen, wenn man heißt nicht die echte Nummern, because there's no consequences. In Zan honest, it do consequences.
Entire world. And I want to say I'm zeichet to be in a base medrash. I'm zeichet to be in a place that has a truth that's relevant to the entire world, from one end of the world to the other. And every base medrash that's plugged into Torah and Yiddishkeit.
Ich fühle, wie darf reden mehr zu den anderen Menschen, straight. Like, also wie ein Podcast, und andere Menschen hören aus.
As a truth. And in Waterbury, there's a truth that's, I believe, is needed in our base medrash, a truth that's needed in every base Yaakov and base medrash in the world. And I think that's a very...
What is that truth? If you could boil it down to like one sentence.
I would use, there would be two words, true truths, that we are souls, every single person in here, that we're a soul that wants Hashem and wants Torah, one truth. That would be the main truth I'd want to say. I want to say, and this, I did not decide, I'm not big enough, or like, it's not my decision to take on the chinuch of America where...
Bin ich habe a friend, wo sucht mir, will sehr stark kommen auf zu haben a Schmiss, but redt von sich. Sagt, in my society, der Regel, die gehst heraus deine Opinion publicly, bist die done. Ob ein misjudged, man kann nicht Yeshiva, and it's terrible.
Tremendous rebellion. We have Gedolim and Tzaddikim. I can only be in the position...
So, wenn man hat nicht die richtige Nummer, kann man sein honest.
I'm in and try to... I was asked by Ray Kaufman, Shlita, the Yeshiva, whatever, I was asked...
Wegen dem sage ich, als WhatsApp darf haben eine Option, als wenn die bist in einer Group, dass die können schicken a message private, nicht private, anonymously of the group. Like, die hast 10 Menschen auf a group, die siehst jedem einem verses of the group, und die können schicken stamm a message, und jeder, was kiegt, kommt darauf stamm the message. Una Nummern. Ui ist die sehen, was heißt honesty.
So, run a Masifta to be a Manal of a Masifta. I was asked to try to find my way and to help other people find their way. Our schools are, and this is not to rip anything, it's to say one man's perspective, and maybe that truth can help others. In secular education, again, we try to manipulate people. So we do have some
Wusstet I'm not getting what he is doing.
sort of race to be the top tier yeshiva. We want a boy to be a certain tier, and that's the goal. If he can't get there, at least 2 and at least the 3rd tier. And what sometimes we turn Yiddishkeit into some sort of scholastic race. Even for a youngster might watch this program, say, hey, I want to be meaningful also. I think that's remarkably dangerous. This program, I understand meaningful people means a Yid. There was a day that we were a very small group. We were a small amount of B'nai Torah.
Nice.
I'm thinking...
Brooklyn sagt, he helps kids get into drug rehab. Nice. See, is do a größer drug problem. Nehm mal weg die, man legt das into the rug, the problem. Man redt nicht davon geherig. The oilem fällt rechts und links.
About my parents, when my father decided to learn Torah, he had come, his mother had gone to public school. There was no big yeshiva movement. And at that point, he was welcomed and wanted. When my Rebbe met Rav Aaron with a ring on his finger at 13, Rav Aaron wanted him and just saw a Yid and wanted to learn Torah with the Yid. Today, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, our yeshivas are full, our Beis Yaakov are full. And we could have the danger of having scholastic competition to be relevant. I also want to make my mark. I also want to be chal. So a boy has to do something, stand out, produce something, finish something that is remarkably dangerous and has a lot of sheker to that, a lot of falsehood to that. A Yid, by his nature, counts. By her nature, she counts.
Sucht basically, was ich verstehe, was sucht ist, als Jid, die bist schon geht der Weg, wieso du bist. Du darfst nicht endigen etwas, darfst nicht stehen etwas special, die bist schon special. That's what I'm getting from what he's saying.
The biggest things in the world are
He
very...
doesn't throw any, the boys trust him and they will never break the trust. Na, ich rede nicht von ihm, ich suche in general, als gesucht sie do a drug issue, suche bei unserer Welt, bei der chassidische Welt, do a rug issue. Man like the drugs into the rug, und man redet nicht davon. Und als schickt sie rehab, good, nice. At least einem geht davon.
very, very quiet. Meaningful people means I'm a Yid, I'm up here, I'm a meaningful person, and I see
Shaya.
in the crowd, how many in the crowd, Nachi, here now?
Hello, welcome.
In the media world, we would say 10,000 people.
So they're big people, so it feels like 10,000. Then there are 10,000 meaningful people right here. Probably a little less, I'm probably a little less meaningful because it's loud. That which is quiet, that which is authentic, that which is sincere is meaningful. And the danger of a chinuch system that has many, and it comes from richness. We have many kids in our class. So it becomes, if you don't fight this, it will be natural to be a scholastic competition, to be chal. I have the longest hours, I do the most, I finish the most, which some could say, okay, that has a mitayr shaloi lishma, ba lishma, that's fine. But it has a danger that what's valuable is the sincere Yid alone in their room. They pray to God, and that's huge. What's valuable is somebody's kind to their wife, a wife kind to a husband. I see at the hotel, you see a lot of parents holding their children. That's the biggest chesed that we
I'm sorry, Izzy.
know of. There's no bigger chesed in the world. And there's a danger in a world which teaches competition, competitiveness, be chal, be the top. Don't settle for mediocrity.
In sports, kann es unhealthy. Sucht, als bei Yiddishkeit kann es nicht an, because then it's all about the fake. It's not about you being besser. It's just to have mehr hours videos gelernt wie dan Schuchen. So you're not really learning anything.
We actually destroy something that's really beautiful, is sincerity.
Ich meine, man darf just aushören. Es ist nicht du, was reden, Izzy. We're listening. It's a du for there.
Quiet. Not everybody sees that.
So you wouldn't agree with the Aleph Beis Gimel share model that I myself grew up in?
I don't want to simplify it because maybe we have to divide up because this class needs more, this class needs less. I don't want to simplify. I want to say that
Izzy, eins sollst du wissen, als no matter wie du dich fühlst jetzt, morgen kannst du am besser. Morgen kannst du aufstehen, ist es am besser. Kannst nicht wissen wieso, darfst nicht wissen wieso, so hat gut nicht mit dir sometimes. It's just chemicals. And sometimes darf man let them go, and then things will start flowing.
it's huge
Get
that
a
we
show,
teach
Bobby.
the truth. Huge. And
What's the
then
truth? You keep alluding to truth.
don't manipulate a class to production. Put somebody in front of the class who's serving God.
Do exercise almost like drugs. It's nicht almost like drugs. It is the ultimate drug. Geh raus for a walk. Nimm dich hinter to do something. Walk 5 Mal.
Real way. It's not if the job of the one in front is to try
Alles geht. Ich kann Airport announcement. Eins jetzt admitted, als depressed. Ich mein that we should keep it more respectful.
to get the most out of the guys, out of the girls, to pull out, you're missing something. There's souls in front of us. Put somebody authentic who's coming in. It's not about getting people to do things. By the way, if you're teaching Torah, teach something that resonates by you. Less trying to get the class. My class finished this. That's nice. It's very nice. And I'm not underplaying finishing the sechtas and accomplishments. In the yeshiva for many years, we had siyum at the end of the year. For now, I stopped.
By the way, es ist funny, weil ich habe gelernt in a book, als es ist besser zu feeling depressed wie aufgeben bechlal. Because feeling depressed, at least fühlt man noch etwas. Ein Level inter depressed ist schon aufgeben. Jens ist tackerleidig. So at least die feelst etwas.
Now,
Shai Danziger sucht etwas. Hit the like button on the way. I agree. I think Zena do, gebe hit the like button.
not against Siyumim. My father taught us to have a chavivas at Torah and to learn Torah and finish
Your
Torah.
father he finished shots every single year.
Siyumim are awesome.
In Ochet, by the way, Izzy, sein grateful, schreib op no Sachen, wo du bist happy, wo du hast ja, ist a gute antidote for depression. Weil, wenn man ist in der Rot, aber man hat nicht, und man hat das, und man nicht so geht, ist man die ganze Zeit nicht, ich kann nicht, ich bin nicht geht. Darf man nur einmal zu sagen, ich bin ja geht. Ich habe das, ich habe jens, ich kann kleine Sachen. In geh raus for a walk. Kehr nicht, just walk. 10 und am Timer, 10 und 10 Minuten, and just walk. The timer klingt, walk zurück heim. And that's it, you'll feel better.
I want kids to know that what counts, a kid learned the line beautifully and sincerely is the deepest thing on planet Earth. I don't want it to be a scholastic race.
What's it scholastic? He keeps saying scholastic.
I don't say I won't go back to Siyumim. For now, I felt that it took guys away from something authentic. Now, it's not knocking. People make Siyumim, and schools could have some degree of competition, and they do, by giving, to me, every single...
Man darf aber auch watschen, man soll nicht geben Participation Trophies. Die ganze Eulam, jede Sache ist, oh, you showed up, you get a trophy. No, you still have to fight for it. So it's ergens wie in between.
Single kid in our boys' schools and girls'
Tulcha. Hello and welcome.
schools deserve respect. Respect is not because of your accomplishment. I think that works. Imagine we would say in our schools, you only get lunch if you do well today. It would have a good effect. You don't get food if you don't behave.
I like that. I like that. Hand, gitterges, bij kind is geen lunch. Wussie, ik kan niet gefinished om zien zeggen.
It would work to a degree. So what we do is we only give cover. You only get respected if you produce.
Wat is het als wissen als ze up to date? There is things you could do. Ga raus for a longer walk. Also wie zoekt, wandering. Sag grateful for Sachen. But ein Sach, die Vox und die Feels, wie die kommst du zu anger platt. Dus du wissen, dass es eine normale Sache in der Wochen. Just keep hustle through that. And then is the feeling wie es heftig sich hervorset in der Kopf. And the chemicals releasing. And things are just better. Sag mal, is this perspective. Most of the times, it's only a change of perspective that changes the mood.
He or she doesn't produce. I think that's a deep lie. Rev Hirsch said the bedrock of education is to, the Rambam says that Rebbe is mechuyev, is obligated to respect his Talmidim. It's not New Age. It's a Rambam, Parakeh, Elchos Talmud Torah. Rebbe has to respect his Talmidim.
In sommer da wissen der Rambam. So muss da wenn halten gegen dem Reben.
Once at a gathering of teachers, and somebody stood up and said, "You're dangerous."
Who said that?
A teacher said, I remember, and somebody stood up and said, "You're dangerous."
Who said that?
A teacher said, I remember it was on the right side, a good prayer.
By the way, Izzy, se kenna sach muzanas, going visiting menschen in the hospital could be heavy. It could be heavy. So I'm just saying.
Vision. He stood up to say
it was a he, okay.
It was a he. But he said, "You're dangerous if you respect kids. The kid's doing bad stuff and you respect him. It's not a shita, it's a truth that a person's to be respected deeply and profoundly. It's not a shita, it's just the truth."
Ich kann ihm sehen sitzen in the office, alles geht sich auf dann kamen, in a tata mama rukimen, in red wegen de kind, und ich kann ihm sehen, zan of the kind zat. Like, you kids are good, and there's in Jens, and he's, your Chaimel is amazing. And how they mean voice.
A person's to be respected. It's not totally on the accomplishments. It actually first, the person is deserving of kavod. of a tremendous innate respect, and the neshamas to be respected. And that nikuda, that it's not scholastic racism.
Hi, so who's it Schraps? It's actually depressing. I went once to the hospital for a mitzvah and I said never again. Yeah, sie kennen sein sehr heavy. Ich habe es gehabt mit visiten Menschen in prison. Eine von meiner letzten visits, again, so heavy that I needed to take a break. So, sie kennen es auch muss an, das ist es.
And it's not to be chal and to be noticed in the class, so then you have to outperform the others. I think that's remarkably dangerous. I think somebody then would look to do chesed in ways that get in the paper and not chesed to a husband, to a wife, to a child. I think greatness and serving Hashem is subtle, is sincere, is authentic, and you can have shaloi l'shma. There could be some races, but you have to counter that by teaching the truth of what's valuable, of what's precious.
That sounds amazing.
We'll be right back to this episode with Rabbi Kalish, a quick word from my
I'm just wondering why there aren't more yeshivas like Waterbury that adopt this model and that do this. There is a huge focus on the academic end, how much we can finish,
Making
how
tacos.
quick, how many siyum we can make,
Episode de
and
Mayo.
so on. I think everyone in this room who's been to yeshiva understands that as well, unless they went to your yeshiva. Now, why aren't there more of those? Why are people even rejecting that model? What are they scared of?
What is the model from the Waterbury Yeshiva? I am not getting that picture.
I don't want to say everybody should do the same thing. Every base medrash, and the base medrash where there is a lot of competition, they probably bring out people mean real. So you see youngsters, this young kid finish us. That's very real. That's remarkable. And you see 58 guys in the class finish Baba Basra. I'm moved by that. That's amazing. And nobody's the judge of Lishma. And Mitoch Shaloi Lishma, Ba Lishma, wonderful. And that
Ik dacht unheiben mit, how is your yeshiva going? Wus is dan yeshiva? And then, compare to others.
base medrash can
He
teach.
goes every Hanukkah to Jerusalem to his graduate. I was there in the airport, and the Talmud came to the airport to receive him. Maybe 100 students were singing in the airport. Okay, Chassidish Rebbe. But we're not getting the picture, though. We're not getting Wus is besser. I'm not challenging him, but just vivos ven.
Something. But every base medrash has their chiddush that they're bringing to the world. If anybody studied Pshescha, brought a certain mitzias to the world. In some way, I don't say Waterbury's Pshescha. I do say that it's modeled towards that. I think our base medrash is bringing something that is impacting. And Rebbeim and Talmidim are plugging into something that's authentic, that a person's finding an Avodas Hashem that's quiet and just meaningful to the person, that's not necessarily loud.
I guess so, alles gut.
The world of Hasidus is full of celebrating the simple person. The simple person who davened. Now, you could say it's very dangerous. By
ZJ, hello and welcome. It's a yeshiva for schwache Bucherim, and he focuses on the academic success. Okay.
the way, every base medrash has a danger. If you celebrate the simple person, are you going to stunt production? Are you going to hurt she'ifos, aspirations? And one could ask them, I want to say our neshamas aspire. Nobody needs to get us to aspire. The neshama wants, and wants a lot. The neshama wants everything. It wants Hashem. The neshama, the soul wants. But one can claim on a base medrash that celebrates that which is simple. So then what's the motivation? The guy, and I think you have to be real about it. And when we tap into our souls, the soul wants a lot and wants big things.
I'm going to close the parentheses on this line of questioning. I know I'm really, coming at you strong on this topic, but I really want to leave no stone, Finnish expression, whatever it means. If someone were to come over to you, they spend a day in your yeshiva, they say it's incredible. People are expressing themselves.
So Litvish Yoli wrote. Yoli wrote both more as a culty, more as a cult situation. nimmt das auch leidige chassidische Bocherim. In der Chassidim, besides for schwach, ja, besides for seine gitte Bocher, eine schwache Bocher, ist auch du leidig, sehr leidig. Aber bekommt nicht gut nicht. So Jody Road geht als ein ganzer mit der Breslover Background, geht Liebschaft, die man singt, in die bis geht. So macht vielen, jedem geht. Lieber B, hello and welcome. He doesn't give up on any students. He doesn't know who has money, who doesn't. He makes a few phone calls and gets money together. Oh, nice. So wie wie sagt man, Jody Roth hat ein Video, wie sagt. Bei uns warf man heraus, die Kinder, wenn die Frau treibt, hast Geld, make dann Frau treiben.
They're living their truth, and they say, but there's boys who are walking
Jody Roth has rules, he doesn't. Jeder Platz misst dann mit rules. You can't have a place without rules, so I'm not sure.
around with this haircut, and there are guys who maybe don't wear a yarmulke, and there's guys that do this and that, and they have questions about that. What do you answer that?
I think somebody.
darf reden sie ihm. Darf reden sie ihm. Es kann nicht eine Discussion.
I would first
Kann ich
ask
kann,
the person to
er
come
sucht auch nicht lieb zu machen Speeches, but er geht nicht aufgeben Speeches.
visit. I do ask people. It's kedai to see. I had 12 Bahram, top guys from Lakewood, from BMG, and they called. They were between the ages of 25 and 28. They were mitsuyanim. Their level of learning was astounding. And they asked to come for a year, to join the Masifta for a year, and they came. They were there for 2 years, Baruch Hashem.
What was their agenda?
They wanted to see something. They wanted to see the honesty that they've heard about, and they plugged in. They all of them said it was life
They should go work at that point.
changing. All of them, and they sat in the Beis Medrash with what you're describing. It's true. There's a guy who walks in without a yarmulke. It's true, and it's really true that people could just be themselves and be comfortable. It's true that at 4 p.m, guys come in to put on tefillin, and 5 and 6, and they're asked not to hide. Come to the Beis Medrash and put on your tefillin, and then.
Brooklyn, wenn man wollte, sie gegeben gehörige Gitte Education mit in Education meine ich zu sagen, als man lässt Kinder tun nach Sachsachen, in Menschen wollten aufgepickt, andere Fields, wollten sie gekannt arbeiten, auf seine Sachen, was sie haben lieb. Man hat nicht gegeben, die einzige Sache ist, was er weiß, ist die Gemüse. That's what they do.
Pray to Hashem. And it's a place where people are asked not to hide. And I would respect anybody who says, whoa, that's dangerous. I think all truths could be dangerous. I really respect that. I also...
Ich verstehe nicht, aber die geht nicht der Platz, wo die Kinder, sie kommen finden, was eigene leiden willen, geht nicht leiden willen, und noch ein Geist haben ein Rog mit AD-Issue. Drug-Issue. Man geht sich Chayas ergens, man geht wollen haben Enjoyment.
I think there's a tremendous gain of honesty.
All truth could be dangerous. Some truth could be dangerous, yes. Ich sage, because it's Emma's, because it's the truth, doesn't mean it's good for you. And when you fragst das Sach mal Akasha and you want to know the truth, the answer might not be in your favor. So before you ask the question, sei sicher that you can handle the answer.
And something, a tremendous yes to plug into. So I get it. There's lines. Adam nimshach achas v'vaisav. People are impacted by their environment. And I my own children, I send to the yeshiva because I wanted them to be impacted by honesty. I wanted them to be...
Da macht mich ein bisschen von Mata Franki auch gesagt, dass gab Menschen bei sich beim Tisch, in der Masbe gewesen, man kann mekar sein Menschen, man kann wasen in der draußen der Welt, but if your truth to your kids, down religion, down Weg, wie du die behavest, the kids are not going to get affected. Nicht sehen das, sein in deinem Bubble, und noch dann werden Eltern und sehen andere Menschen, might have a bigger effect, because, lass mal sagen, einer, was lernt in einer metziendige Yeshiva, lass mal gehen zu der litwische Welt, hat Chassan, hat Kinder, never experienced anything outside of the box, all of a sudden sagen Kinder nicht the best behaved, and fängt an tun Sachen, he doesn't even know how to handle it. So, lernt sich gar nicht.
An honest pursuit of Hashem, Hashem's Torah, of Hashem's people.
Don't agree. That's for another time. Which part don't you agree?
Oh yeah, there's different ways, there are different approaches.
That's why coming here and using a fake name works. You can be and say what you really think. Yeah. Yes. It does help to be a keyboard warrior.
But I do think there's a base medrash of honesty that's very powerful for our people.
I appreciate that.
Sag mal, du gute ideas. Weißt du, man sucht von Menschen, oh, no, just let go. This is gute ideas, but how do you put it into perspective? How do you put it into actual life? Wie sucht man toch auf den Tisch? How do you let go of certain issues wenn einer hat? Physical letting go, weiß jeder einer, auszulassen. About honesty always not being good for you. Honesty, because about honesty not always being good for you. Hidden the emes is not always good, Toby. Sometimes people want to be lied to.
I have my phone out here. If anyone has my number and wants some questions asked, that's what I'm looking at. Some people in the meeting from the community knew that I was sitting down with your Kalish and they're sending me questions. So if you have my number, feel free. A question that was sent in, which I think is...
Get to the question.
One that's going to, requires you to open up a bit here. It says, is there a moment you handled something wrong with a student and it taught you something important?
Of course. How do you think he got to his position? The Meister game perfect at a Sam Malach? But it's a good question because we do want to hear. This got Maru gebrengt, I was honest, and then I was honest back as I get a question. How could you be a good person and a liar and an honest bad person? No, because if you lie, by the way, nicht an honest meint nicht einmal so liegend. But wenn ein Mensch fragt certain kashas, sag mal, und hat nicht lieb der Territz, because hat nicht lieb der Territz, and kann dich umkicken, like, why did you answer me that? Because the other person wanted to be honest. You gotta watch out. Honest people are generally not bad. Agree. Also wie einer gesagt, dass einer Tag Arbeit gemeint, ich bin nach Ghana gegangen zu sein, habe gesagt, wieso kann ich stoppen Ghana? Hat ihm gesagt, you know what? Such ich kann liegend. Schon. Der nächste Tag will gehen Ghana, tracht mit dem Chappen, mit dem Fragen, sie das getan. Geht müssen sagen nein, aber geht doch sagen liegend. Kann man nicht Ghana. So, honest people können sagen schlecht, man kann sagen schlecht.
Definitely. There's plenty of places to go to make mistakes. They have plenty of places to go. But I'll tell you what's coming to my mind now. In the early years of the yeshiva, I threw out some guys out of Waterbury in the early years of yeshiva. It's been many years since that's happened. And
Chesky, Sports Production, hello and welcome.
The throwing out is a very difficult, even to say the word. I'm like shamed. I'm standing in front of a lot of friends, a lot of people, and I've apologized to some. I've apologized to the ones that I could apologize. And even the throwing out was always the understanding that if you're not being safe, if you get safe, you can come back. I think every kid understood that. Today, I don't believe in yeshiva, and again, it's not said to disparage anybody. I'm talking to me, this guy threw kids out. I don't think a yeshiva can ever throw a kid out. I don't think so. The kid's hard to figure out, to get help. I don't think there's such a... I think it's...
This is a mordige, interessante Sache. So du hast man kann nicht herannehmen kann Kinder in a yeshiva because andere parents are not going to send their kids, was heißt weiß, schwarz, Jakobowitsch, schick deine Kinder, will ich nicht schicken. That could be one problem. But ich habe gelernt bei Schmelke Leifer, Giste Yeshiva, in nicht herausgeworfen von Bucheram, and it became so hard, you can't handle it. It's gemacht the Yeshiva. He couldn't handle it because it's harge the flow of the Yeshiva. I don't know how to say it better, but it's a schwere position zu sein. Du hast 20 Kinder in a class. I guess, I don't know. I guess there's the risk for Neffen and Yeshiva.
Arrogance. I'm embarrassed. Looking now, the guys are older. I made a Shabbos for alumni a couple of months ago, And the guy showed up on the Shabbos, and he said, he has a wife and children. He said, you threw me out of the yeshiva. And he said, thank you, you saved my life. And I apologized probably about 10 times over Shabbos. I'm embarrassed from him. And I don't, he says, you saved my life. I don't look at it that way. He grew, and Hashem is more powerful than us all, and directed, and people can survive one human being's mistakes. But I don't look at it that way. I had no right. It was arrogance. I don't think you could look at a youngster and say, get out. I don't see how not to take. I care. The school probably has the option.
That deserves a round of applause, no?
Das nicht nehmen kein Kind, verwusst ja, überlassen, nicht unnehmen der Achrayas.
You don't think that Yeshiva should be throwing boys out?
I don't think you can. I don't think you're allowed to me, it's crazy. I can't believe I did that. And I'm wrong.
Very big of him, by the way. Very big of him as I apologized like that. I'm just saying.
Anybody listening who was thrown out, this guy, Daniel Kish, was completely wrong. It's a sin. And I don't see how somebody can do it. It's been many years, Baruch Hashem.
Mich hat man rausgeworfen von einer Yeshiva, just because sie haben Magachi dort nicht mit Ego. Ego, hat man rausgeworfen. So, dem warfen, verstehe ich. But ob einer ist sehr disruptive, let me say a mensch hat a yeshiva, and one kid is very disruptive. Other people are going to take out their kids. So, how do you balance that? Nimmst du raus die Kind, die machst ein extra Programm für die Kind. Tata hat doch schon Geld zu tun für extra Programs. Erst soll die Yeshiva arbeiten mit der Tata, und wir soll geben outside education, meaning a Fach, trade school, in nur dem schicken arbeiten. Nicht jeder eine belangt, sie sitzen in Yeshiva ganz so.
Hashem, I don't see how you could look at somebody and say, get out. I don't know what planet you live in. Who are you? And to me, if somebody's struggling, so figure it out. When you throw out a kid, I'll tell you what happens. I was called in by a Rosh Yeshiva, a very good.
And the father comes to donate a building, and the kid stays for 2 more years, and by the time 2 years are over, the whole class is on drugs. Oh, man. Terrible.
Person.
Ich meine, der drug thing is reingekommen so schnell that they don't even know how to handle it. Like, sind nicht einem, but es gehalten so stark under the rug, als jetzt ist es too much. Und keiner weiß nicht, was es ist. Nobody wants to be the first one. Man schämt sich noch. Jeder geht zu Rehab. Es tut sich. I don't think there is. It's also so nicht du kann manikador. So nicht du one guy was controlled. His word is a word. Tut sich Menschen, jeder eine sucht, man macht. So I don't know how they're going to fix it.
And he said, I heard this Chilul Shabbos in Yeshiva. So I said, Rebbe, can I ask a question? Do you think there's a kid, and if he comes to you, you teach him Shabbos, and he comes to me, I teach him Chilul Shabbos? I said, Rebbe, the guy you threw out for Chilul Shabbos comes to us. So now I have him a Chilul Shabbos, and then he becomes from. So I want to express...
Brooklyn, ich pflege op mal a joke, wie a Tata setzt sich heran zu... Man rief op sa Tata, en man sucht, man will rauswerfen sein Sinn. So fragt wie viel Zeros? In der Manal, der Rosh Yeshiva fragt what do you mean zeros? Geht das nimmer aus der checkbook, und der Mann geht, a couple of gunish, and the kind is dort in Yeshiva.
When you throw out a kid, what you've done is you've helped your school.
And by the way, when a kid macht trouble, is it usually a sign as will etwas anders. Maybe he doesn't have the right words to say it, you know. So man vielleicht sagen, use your words.
Your school is more prestigious.
Hello and welcome.
Hashem's kids are the exact same. You haven't changed the equation at all. Your school is better. You've helped your school. Have you helped Hashem? And to me, there's an arrogance to tell...
Ich meine, als darf mir jetzt reden zu den alle Rosh Yeshivas. Ich meine, als darf machen ein Meeting mit alle Rosh Yeshivas. Also ja, bist du kein Rosh Yeshiva, but arbeite jetzt auf dein Ego.
Kid get out.
Also wie einer öffnet auf einem Mechanic Shop von nur Gittercars. Ich fix nur Gittercars. Zerbrochene Cars? Bist du bereit?
Is very, very, very wild. I don't see how somebody could do that. Personally, and again, either people do it. I don't think people mean bad. And
ich weiß nicht, dass du gemacht Trouble wegen dem. Sie können sagen, man macht Trouble. You want to stick out. Du willst Menschen sollen dich kennen. Der, was hat geendigt Schaas, geendigt die Gemüse, kein geht, he gets the attention there. But die kannst nicht lernen, und du bist ein Stückel wild Kind, wo sollst die sitzen in einer baxelige Room, einen ganzen Tag, und lernen ein subject. It's not for everybody.
I understand cheshbainis, but he's hurting other kids, a Dave, these type of svaras. I think it's easy to go those places. I think kids struggling. I think the rejection of the hard kid damages the best kid in the class. I think when we reject the struggling kid, we've literally hurt the best kid in the class. When parents have the hardest kid in the family, picture a home. If they would throw out the hardest kids, Hashem Yerachim, they've hurt the best kid in their family. Because it's saying we're only accepted if you stay within this. That's ridiculous.
En ook, wenn die hast nicht der Schlechter, was du nicht gewusst, wer geht es. You know, die warst auch der Schlechter, noch bleibst über, let's say if you have 5 people in the family, die warst auch der Schlechter, number 4 wird schlecht, warfst du mal raus. Wie stoppst du?
What does a parent do to, let's say, I hate using the word protect because I don't like that, but like you have a kid in the house that is exhibiting certain behaviors that could have a negative influence in that scenario. And I know there's Avi Fishoff believes perhaps send out the good kids for a couple of weeks and focus on the one who's not behaving the same way you do for someone who's chas shalom sick.
Wie schickst du raus deine Kinder? Warte, man geben keine Education für die Eltern. Die Eltern machen nicht crazy incomes. How would you want that? I mean, how would you want them to sustain that? Wie schickst du deine Kinder? Du hast 5, 6 Kinder. You ain't sending them anywhere. Die arbeitest den ganzen Tag.
What's your thought process when it comes to that?
I want to say one point on that. The same Hashem who gave you this child and knows that you need this child gave those siblings this sibling. So I think of faith that Hashem, the same Hashem who gave the parent this child, gave the siblings this sibling. I have seen that the struggling kid really defines the whole yeshiva. When the yeshiva is patient, understanding with that girl and that boy, it's an aliyah for the entire yeshiva. They're often the most sensitive souls out there. Kipshuta, it's not.
By the way, ich feel wie Yeshiva is the wrong part zu gehen. Ich meine, wenn some davon gehen in Yeshiva and some should go to a trade school. Wir sagen, wie sie mit Schnatt halt. Wir sind mit dit andere Millionen ein Sachen, wo sie do outside scientists. So a billion things to do. Von wo ist dafke des? Wat heb es gepickt? Des is es, a baxedige room, fluorescent lights, 2 mesechtes, and that's it. What are you doing?
Not a funny thing to say. The deepest, most sensitive souls struggle in this earth. And the more patience, understanding, tapping in, the more.
By the way, in the Japanese school, hat man einer gesagt, the Kinder cleanen off the classroom, the Kinder cleanen the hallways, the Kinder cleanen the toilets, sie machen sein eigener Lunch. Von wo darf man einen ganzen Tag Kinder sitzen? Mach Lunch. Sie kommt Lunch, eins ist eigener Lunch, jeden Tag macht der 2. Klasse Lunch. Cleaned off the basketball courts. Mit dit Sachen. What is this?
Where everybody gains. Everybody. I worry when schools throw out.
Imagine die schickst dein Kind für 13 Uhr in a computer class. Ich get the example als ich. Du hast 13 Uhr die schickst dem. Computer class. Noch 13 Uhr fragst du dein Kind, oh, nee. Bist gegangen 13 Uhr in school. Wo kennst du Computer? Look. Es sind unter Computer. Okay. Und spielt Solitaire. Am auflegen die Computers kommen mit Solitaire. Wow. Wir nehmen dich geschickt 13 Uhr nach school. Also kiek das aus. Man schickt 13 Uhr ein Kind zu Geider. Kommt raus, kann gar nicht. Kaum davon kennen. Kann nicht davon auch nicht. Hat keine was sagt. Weiß nur, wie sie mal followed das System. The bell ringt. Well, man zit der Lunchroom. Man hebt auf der Hand, Rebbe. Ja. Ich darf in Toilet. Der Rebbe sagt, nein, die das nicht. Oh, okay. Hebt auf noch mit der Hand. Ja. Rebbe, zoek nog wenn ich darf ja in Toilet. What's this? Crazy.
Kid, I worry for the strong kid. What messaging has he got or she gotten? Then the production that, again, whoa, I don't want to go there. That's not the energy of serving Hashem. That's not it.
You're saying have faith in the kids. Have faith in the classmates or the family members that they have the strength to withstand whatever is going on in their house.
Yeah.
In ich verstehe nicht, die nimmst daraus the problem von daheim. They don't get used to having a problem in daheim. Und die alle Kinder gehen hassen They're going to make families of their own. How are they going to handle other kids? Their kids. Die rest te gaan, dat alle deine Kinder gaan zijn dezelfde weg wie die willst? Wishful thinking, but how, wie geist es bekommen? Hat die uns gesehen, dann hat geht sich über mit dem Kind, ne, jetzt hast die Kinder, gehst dich über. Die verstehst, die weißt klieger. iPad Kids balance.
Wow.
We'll be right back to this episode with our the character that really connect. What you're gonna eat concierge sponsored by on Toast. That's like a search in a 5 story
From someone in the audience. I guess someone got my number.
Brooklyn looked, how many kids go through law school, pass the bar, and after years, they decide they don't like it. This is well, they put in so much effort in it. As me kwetscht es aus all the way. And jetzt, wenn geht unheim law, hat schon nicht kein Geduld dafür. And most probably is geworden a lawyer, was an Tate is a lawyer, oder whatever other reason is geworden a lawyer. Imagine, schon ugetin alles, schon geinterned, hat nicht gekocht. Jetzt will er a pizza shop, it's easier, macht Pizza, man macht ein bisschen Geld, und fertig.
Here, nice. How do you balance letting a student be fully himself while still guiding him toward growth?
En ook het, was is growth a klal? Jeder einer. Shouldn't be that way.
I want you to hear the question. I want everybody to hear the question.
How do you balance letting a... No, you can say it.
Say it again, say it again, say it again, Matthew.
No, you can reframe it. If
I
you
want you to say it.
No, I think what it's really saying is let's say someone does something. Let's say... this is an extreme example.
I like the wording. Really,
I know.
Pinage, I always wondered what if I went to law school? I mean, the what ifs can go riesig, you know? What if? We don't know.
But I want to make it a little more deeper, you know?
But the alle Menschen who sollten gewähnt gute lawyers they never got the chance to be good lawyers because they never had the chance to go to law school because gedarf sitzen in a baxedige room and learn on a subject wo sie nicht gehabt kan geduld. How do you want them to be happy in whatever they do if they're meant to be lawyers? Torture.
Let's say there's a guy who's expressive self, he's a tattoo artist, and he's doing something that's against the Torah. But that's his true expressive self. How do you...
Was heißt, wir kennen schon kein Tattoo Artist? Wir tun nicht über ein Tattoo. Er darf es nicht machen auf Ayid, zu gehen zu machen Tattoos, no?
You take that child, that guy, and guide him toward a Torah path without suffocating who he's inside.
I wanna just say that a lot of chinuch, when we talk about guiding the guys, a lot of the words of education we have to change. The question, and the questioner is, I'm sure, a wonderful person. They're used to education of a lot of manipulation. We're all
JJ. Hello, welcome.
souls that want good things. Every single one of us is a flaming soul that wants Kirvas Elikim Tov, that wants Hashem. You know, we say in Shemana Esrei is Anshe Knes Sagdos, the last Nevi'im, and we say Ki Lishuascha Kivinu Kol Hayom.
JJ Zook, you have some great law graduates. They get into very successful careers, even not in law. The idea, though, at the guys dorch school, leren ze toch a sach andere Sachen. Die miss ich dafka rauskommen zu sein a lawyer. At the guys in school for a lawyer, but noch dem treffst a zweite field, wo du bist happy jeden Tag aufzustehen und gehen arbeiten and do that work, then it paid off.
We want Hashem's Yeshua every day, all day, Kol Hayom. The cynic would say, really? I'm thinking, are they beating St. Louis tonight? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, let's check.
Please.
The Mets are up 4-1.
They're up 4-1.
Go.
Imagine a Hasidische Baumechanach wollte des durchgegangen wegen Sports. Nicht idle. Nicht serious. Kenn nicht Mechanach sein, mein Kind. Redt von Sports. Redt von andere Sachen. Get him a hohe Finnever. What's this?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you imagine Beatty got on base?
Wow, that doesn't
That's wild.
We crave Hashem all day. Now, all of us say Shemana Esrei, and there's a deep truth that we want Hashem. So whenever we talk about manipulating
Call
I have
me.
to make sure
Hello
I
and welcome.
actually want somebody to find the truth, to really find the truth and think that we're capable of really finding the truth. So it's not what do you say, how do you lead, how do you guide. They're really truths. We have an neshama that really wants the truth.
Ich habe gelernt in the book, ich weiß, ich habe difference in the book, but sucht dort, dass ein Doktor hat geschrieben, es gab ein Patient, wo es gab viel mit Krankheiten, mehr Gassen wie Krankheiten, und er hat die getreut zu helfen. And after a while, they realized, ich kann nicht helfen. I'm just going to give her love, ich kann ihr ausheden, and he's going to send her love. After a while, she started coming back, turning around and becoming better. Das ist, was ich viel finde, wenn sagt, man darf nicht guiden. Man guide, man ist ein ganzer Driver. Man geht jenem, nein, just accept jenem, wie so jener ist. Was es ist important, bist auch eine Sache, and that's it.
A therapist from Muncie called me up one day and he said, I've been watching the yeshiva for years and I figured you out. Like, whoa. I think he spoke to Nachi before this program because he's been on target with his questions.
His name is?
Well studied. But the therapist said, I figured the yeshiva out. He said, you really trust people? And there's like a pause. I'm like, no. There's a pause. He said, you're crazy. So people really have a soul that wants the right thing. And even the question which says, how do you direct? How do you encourage and you try to be truthful yourself? The best mechanic, the best yeshiva is not to manipulate, it's to actually present something that you watch a school and somebody's there trying to get guys to daven well, looking around. That's not daven. The mechanic in front should daven nicely.
Lead, show wie so man darf acten, you know. Sei nicht busy, wie so ich soll sein. Als ein Bucher will wissen, wie so man act, kickt man auf dem und sagt, okay, so ich act, Ayid, I see.
I was speaking recently at a school, and there was 6 teachers circulating to make sure everybody was being quiet. Is that could you imagine somebody now go around the crowd, like looking around? That's not a learning environment. I asked the principal quietly, not to embarrass. I said, could you do me a favor? I can't speak like this. Could you please ask the teachers nicely, not in front of the kids, to sit down? And maybe if the teacher wants to listen, they're not listening when they're circulating. The best thing was, let's talk Torah, let's really learn. I'd rather there's one person in the crowd talking a little bit, and we really could learn. People perk up. People are interested in Torah. Real. Our people are here. Was anybody forced to be here? We're going to talk. We're trying to talk about chinuch, about Torah, about growth. And Yidden come. I've watched the hotel over Pesach. It's mind-boggling. Was there a test? Does Miriam and Shaya give tests after Yom Kippur that I don't know about? That is there? Well, maybe they pay people. Maybe do they take off? And I figured out, where's my rachel? I think they minus money from the hotel for every share you go to. People come to shiurim. It's mind-boggling. The whole Yom Tiv. This is a tremendously ruchnius. You know why? Because we're Yidden. Because we're Yidden. Because we're
Es gibt nicht so, dass ich gewähne ein chassidischer Programm, I tell you that much. Es gibt ein chassidischer Programm, und ich du kannst ihm Schir. Se du a Schir, der Litwische gehen.
Yidden, and it means something to be Yidden. We have big souls. That's the bottom line in chinuch. That's knowing that about all our, and then presenting something. The teacher in front, say Torah, that means something to you. That really means. Don't manipulate. Don't try to get my son.
Ja, das ist Bordeaux. Bordeaux ist ein Restaurant, aber sie machen auch Pesach-Programs. Pesach with Bordeaux.
To be, to do, to perform, to outperform, present truth, study Torah. And the guy said, well, when my father learned Torah with his shiur, he was not a manipulator. He had a big geschmack in learning. He enjoyed learning. You don't have to tell your class, an amazing Rashba. They'll decide it's amazing.
Der macht man von Sklash. Gat a Rebbe, a Magachir. Pflegt schon seine eigene Teures. Pflegt sagen, I'm going crazy. Pflegt immer da, push the tisch.
Say a Rashba that you're curious about. 2 things will happen. Either kids themselves, because Dvarim HaYotzim and Alev, You're serious about it, they'll be interested.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
even if they're not interested, it's very cool to be in front of a Rebbe who really likes the Rashba. And when my father taught, two things happened. He was excited by Pshat. And either a kid that was very pulled somebody in, and to the people who weren't pulled in, were very, very attracted to be around somebody who likes Torah. So just instead of manipulating in the classroom, if it's up to me...
Ze voelt alsof hij anders kan salesman. Oh, die car is the beste car. Don't sell it. It will sell itself. Op zo geht.
Beis Yaakovs and yeshivas, there'll be no more tests allowed on Hebrew subjects. Zero. Zero, zero, zero. I think it should be...
Ich hab van deze Sache für testen. Man geht verheeren. Man verheert. Was verheerste? Eind mir sucht etwas a Keul, man gegeben $6,000. Der Mensch hat verheert. Was hat verheeren? Just lernen. Reden dich werden triggert. Deze von den Sachen, was get me triggert. Was wird mir verheert? Mische Gas.
I think it takes away Avos HaTorah, a love of Torah.
Agreed.
It takes away your joy for Torah.
Yes.
Everybody came to Shiurim here. There are no tests. And I think a test is for later on. I think my father liked when young light get tested. I think tests should be voluntary in the class. Only voluntary. And a test is cool. You want to make sure you know it, you like it, you review for it. Excellent. But it's not based on grades and tests. I think for Lashon Kodesh, that should be out for all Hebrew subjects. Only math, science, social studies, those should be tested. And those use all the manipulations in the world. Excellent.
I don't agree, but we're going to let it slide.
But our Torah, we're wired for Torah.
I just got a text from someone here.
And by the way, wenn man macht testen volunteer, in stoegever gaan, andere was gaan, ook het wel gaan veel, nächste Woche gaan ze leren besser, because they themselves want to know. This is such craziness. Man darf verheeren na ganze Zeit. Wer hat das so gemacht?
My brother, he said, you would have done really well in school without tests. That's a real message. It's true also.
And teach Gemara to girls? First, teach them how to cook and clean. Okay? To be honest. Cook, clean. Wieso man nutzt a sewing machine. All that. Wieso man keer für Kinder. Then, if you have time, kannst du auslernen. Andere Sachen. Und für die Männer lernen aus QuickBooks, mit den alle Sachen. Because the man geht daraus arbeiten den ganzen Tag. And the Frau, technically, if you have a family of kids, are busy taking care of the kids. So lernen sie aus kochen, cleanen, waschen, laundry, all that. And the man lernen aus English, wieso man bringt daheim Geld. And I think the bridge of best set of marriages can arbeiten.
Switching gears a little bit to...
Viggy is so old school. Now, I'm not saying lernen nicht aus, but what is important? Du kommst daheim, dann sapper ich kalt, sind nicht du kann sapper, the hose is upside down, deine Kinder sind nicht gewaschen, sie schlafen nicht, aber dann Wab hat jetzt geendigt mit sechtes Eireven. Who cares? Neem care von den Kinder. I'm not saying women belong in the kitchen in they mean attitude, but in the Yiddish Welt, also baut man die Welt. A man geht arbeiten, a Frau neemt care von der Haus. So teach how to take care of a house. Leer ons de haluchas, dus man darf kennen, in a house. Het is machen de house easier. In de man leer ons QuickBooks, money management, arbeid, was nog kan man auslernen? Trade school, oder a profession, oder wil weer een lawyer, wil weer een doctor. Give him the tools, also werden this, and maybe then you might have a chance.
It's focusing on the parenting, as opposed to the institutions.
It's all the Gemara's fault. It's not about the Gemara's fault. Just you're learning the wrong things.
Truly, that's where a lot of the work happens, at home. What do you wish every single parent understood?
I think husbands should stay home and the kids, and the woman should bring in the money. If that works, leren ons de man demels keert zijn nemen van de kinderen in kochen. Whoever is staying home, right? Zij darf kennen the house. Whoever is going outside in the outside world should be prepared for the outside world. In Skwer hat mich einer gesagt, haben lernt aus der Meidlich a sach education, because by them, the man bleibt in Koil. And who's going to take care of work and all these type of things? The Frau. So lehnt man sei aus. Which makes sense. But at die Hals hat ein Mann geht arbeiten, und geht keinem mehr für Sachen, und die Geist huben bei der 24, Geist ist schon 5 Kinder. How else is he going to bring in money? Why aren't we planning ahead for that? Like, man wird surprised. Like, oh, hat 5 Kinder, und darf bringen Geld. Wow. Like, we didn't know that. And it changed gar nicht.
About their child's needs, what they actually need, from young to teenagers that are getting ready to leave the house. What is the need of that child from their parent?
Exactly, Chaim. Chaim sagt, teach the boys how to live life and not to survive. Exactly. Man darf nehmen Kinder, wie die schanzt, right? Wie bist du git? How is it going? In pursue. Oh, die Kid kickt aus, der geht an, a lawyer. Gib ihm die richtigen Tools, gib ihm die richtige Englisch. Lern ihm aus. Money Management. Jeder darf Money Management. Hoe neemt man nicht aus QuickBooks? Hoe darf man lernen 5-6 Uhr in der Yeshiva, und man kommt heraus, man darf nehmen einen Job, und noch dem wird man gewohnt, du hast auch wie Taxes. Und hat nicht wem zu reden, weil der Babu sagt ihm, was hat das mit mir? Sie between dich and the government. All of a sudden sind wir den ganzen nicht auf der Steuer. Come on. Learn aus taxes, wie soll man file taxes, how you do all these things, ready for the Welt. Was nicht genommen, Chevret in the Army und auslehnen gar nicht, right? Was nicht genommen 25 Wochen und gesagt, du hast the guns and guy fight the Army. Die was er getraint für dem.
I want to say firstly that I'm moved by parents. That I think parents have a lot of answers, and I would tell parents actually to trust themselves. I would actually say there are many styles of chinuch, and a lot of mistakes are made when parents give over. This is not a rip on institutions. Our best people are rebbeim. They should be paid better. Our best
How much should they be being paid? I'm curious.
How much should they be paid?
Yeah, because I had this discussion with Ryan Bender, and like I don't know if I want to.
Who's the polar bear in the Mets?
Pete Alonso.
How much does he make a year?
50 million?
60 million? 20 million? 20 million.
So Rebbe, about a little more than
Checkmate.
I want to say that Rebbeim, this is not a rip on Morris, Rebbeim, teachers, amazing. But I want to say that parents, you are the mechanic. Do not...
Exactly. Man lernt sich aus alles in der Heim. Geider is hand geworden just a glorified babysitting service. Jetzt wacht man gut. Jetzt macht man nach rechts.
Give over chinuch. I'm a principal. I don't want one mother in my institution to give over the chinuch of their children to me. I don't want, and I say this sincerely, I'm around Pesach parents. Hashem gave you a child. You're the mechanech of the child. A lot of mistakes are people, even a...
Rabbeim in Mora should make a living wage. Sag mehr wie a living wage. Zij dealen mit Kinder den ganzen Tag. Madig, wenn die arbeits mit anderen adults, is es schwer. Working with kids is very hard. En ook het Kinder kommen von alle meine backgrounds. Meaning, alle meine nervöse Kinder, ruhige Kinder, zedreite Kinder, weil the parents sind zedreit. En man darf das alles kontrollen. A 25-year-old Mora darf kontrollen 20 Kinder, wo sie jeder eine kommt mit Sahne gegessen, nicht gehörig gegessen, nicht gehörig geschauert. Bringt daheim solche Stories von daheim. It's crazy. Also, sie machen nicht das Geld. Boss Nation. Hello and welcome. Yo, yo, yo.
A lot of their relationship to their kid is getting them to work in school. Stop. Let the school handle school. That's not your job to make it. Many mistakes are made. The parents are called into the principal's office, and now they're like shluchim of the principal. No. The principal is your shliach. And I say this under parents...
Also, wie man kann versuchen, wenn gegangen zu Interview, reingeben sein Kind in a school, hat gefragt der Principal, okay, convince mich, was ich so schicken, mein Kind, ich so trusten mein Kind zu dir. Der Principal kickt ihm und sagt ihm, yo, kann ich mich noch einfach nicht gefragt, die question.
Dream big things for their children. And Hashem gave a parent a child, trust yourselves. I've seen again, be mechanech from a place of good midas. Be mechanech from a place of good midas. Can I share a vart, Nachi? I'm turning a podcast into a speech. I'm sorry.
I kind of felt like that was going to happen. You said you weren't going to do that, though.
Yeah.
You can share a vart, sure. If I say no, I look terrible. What do you want to say? You cannot share a vart. No. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the Gemara says that Rabbi Yehuda, it says Isi ben Yehuda counted the praise of his Talmidim. And he said Rabbi Yehuda was smart when he wants to be. Is that a praise? You got a PTA and somebody says your kid is smart when he wants to be? Complicated, right? And the Gemara says, would you call that a praise?
It's fine. I just saw my mother say that's what they said to me. You said that, right? That's exactly what they said to you, right?
That's like the potential word.
Yeah, they have a ton of potential.
Yeah.
They have good midos.
Potential doesn't mean what your kid could be. We all have potential. Potential, there's so much potential. It means you know how much he's not doing. So smart when he wants to be sounds like a terrible line. If he just wanted, does he usually want? But that's what it says about Yehuda. The Maretz Chios. The Maretz.
Sie können sagen, dorten wie schaamt, ist klick. So dorten darf man focussen in.
Chios says, the Yehuda was smart when he wants to be. He says that when we're angry, we don't have access to our chachma. When we're in a state of bad midas, jealousy,
Hold
anger,
on. Was hat gesagt jetzt? I think he said something important.
He just wanted. Does he usually want? But that's what it says about Rabbi Yehuda. The Maretz Chios. The Maretz Chios says Rabbi Yehuda was smart when he wants to be. He says that when we're angry, we don't have access to our chachma. When we're in a state of bad midas, jealousy, anger, we can't access our wisdom. We become dumb.
Okay.
So Rabbi Yehuda was smart when he wants to be, means he had good midas. And I say to parents, trust your chinuch. Your children were given to you, trust yourself. I beg parents one thing to trust themselves. I have seen the parents in the yeshiva are forces in chinuch. I'm amazed by parents, the fathers and the mothers. I say to access your own wisdom, make sure you're coming from good midas. So make sure we're not coming from what the neighbors are going to say, from embarrassed. Just come from a place of good midas, because then we can access our wisdom. When we're angry, jealous, in bad moods, our wisdom is completely lost from us. Kas b'cheik ksilim yanuach. It's a pasuk. Persons are typish when they're bekas. So I say to parents, when Nachi says what I would want to say to parents is be mechanech your child. Connect, relate.
Connect. Have a conversation mit dein Kind. Relate mit dein Kind. Spiel nicht Tata. Anna sagt, man spielt Tata.
Stand,
he looks like Rabashkin.
And I'm amazed by parents. And don't give up, chinuch. They're your children. Relate to each child.
Ich meine, als alle Lubavitcher kicken aus derselbe wie... So haben that look. Not to be racist or anything, you know?
Connect to each child. Form an honest relationship with each child. And understand that Hashem gave you this child. You have a lot of answers to the child. My goal in yeshiva...
By the way, I sag Enfers meint nicht dafke... die hast de Enfer. The Enfer can auch sagen, just listen to your son. Just listen to your kid. That's it. Gib him a shoulder. Einer hört ihm aus. Man darf nicht verstehen. Yankee T. Hello and welcome back. How was your flight?
One of the goals is a bacher should be closer to his mom.
By the way, als ich seine schön du, gib uns a hit the like button. And als ich seine noch subscribed.
What are you doing?
All right, back to the schedule programming.
Should be closer to his dad. I think that relationship, nobody replaces dad, nobody replaces...
He's not a lubab? I guess Piram kann sich verstellen wie a lubab. He's coming, kicked those close to us.
This is mom. My father was somebody...
Not everyone has parents. Maar dat they was hot. Sadly, du was haben nicht.
Who was a going...
Also wie in Geider, hat man keine gesagt, oh, siehst du, a Yusam? Sie haben ein Stück Zeit, Mamas und Tatas sind gestorben, sie haben eine Sache gesäumen. So einer sagt, wir können werden a Yusam, wir können werden a Kalachdige Yusam. Und auch damit du, I wanna be Yusam. So alle meine gesäumen.
Torah, and he gave credit to everything he became.
Thank you, Yankee T, for having everybody in mind. Thank you.
came from his mother. Now, his mother was a wonderful Yid who went to public school. He gave credit, and my father was not an exaggerator. And he gave credit to who he became to his parents, were his main rebbeim. He learned by giants. Parents are huge in a kid's life, come from a place of good midas, so we can access the chachma that Hashem gives us to raise our children.
A message that was just sent in. What would you say to the good kid who feels undervalued when seeing the kid who's struggling getting more attention from the Rebbe/teacher? Doesn't that send a message that quote unquote not such good kid behavior gets rewarded? Now,
I love that question. You've been on fire all day.
People been saying
Nachi's been perfect all night. That might have been. Somebody once called me up and say, you tease, you make fun of the good kid. He said, people are listening to the share. And there might be like a good kid out there is listening. The mythical good kid. And what I want to say is that I don't fall for the externals. I don't fall for...
Just imagine einer hyped auf de Quittel dort, was het aangelegd bij de Pshaya. Brooklyn, Izzy, de alle nemen. Goyret Yiddish.
The one who's stark, the one... We're all holy souls that are struggling. All of us, me, you, and every guy in here, and every guy in every base medrash you ever saw. People who are mechanchim, people and educators have a challenge. There's like a whole, people feel like phonies, like they're frauds. If they're in position, it's a complex, like as if they're a fake, because they're aware of their own struggles, of their own difficulty. They look, everybody else just seems, look at a hotel, everybody seems so comfortable, and so we all have struggles. It's human to struggle in
Wenn sucht, jeder eine kickt sich und be like, oh, die auch het?
This world. To ever, the kid who looks like they're struggling, I have more pity on the...
Who is the audience educators? Nein, the audience then just mentioned in the Pesach program by Bordeaux.
The kid, I should say pity. But I think the one who needs the hug even more is the one who can't necessarily... I was that kid who couldn't show that I was struggling. Because it's scary to do that.
Vulnerability. We kennen zijn vulnerable.
I kept my yarmulke on, Baruch Hashem. But we all have struggles. It's human to struggle. And I think Nachi's spot on that every Rebbe has to know this. I don't care if the kid is in BMG 16th year, in Koilel for 14th, Baruch Hashem.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, is a chassid from Williamsburg, beautiful person from Teaneck, a Koilel guy from Teaneck. It doesn't matter. The human being struggles. The human being needs chizuk. So I think Nachi's just right. It would be a tremendous mistake to ignore any person and not to give chizuk and encouragement and understanding to any person. And I think somebody could say, and I think if people look in superficial ways, could say this one's strong, this one's struggling. Don't ignore any member of our people. Everybody.
This is the problem when we learn ein subject, meaning learns that subject, von 30 Kinder, 8 scheinen. But die lernen sich kein anderes subject, so andere Kinder haben nicht wie zu scheinen. Meint nicht, dass sie scheinen nicht. In dem Programm darf man geben mehr Sachen für Kinder zu tun, weil hat scheinen du, hat scheinen dort. Und jeder hat bekommen sein, eine scheint in Basketball, der andere in Baseball, der andere in Football, einer in Gym, einer in the Science Lab, und einer bei der Gemüse.
You all run on chizuk, need encouragement, need love, need attention. So I that kid who would say, I'm not being noticed because I don't seem to be struggling, I would say you're spot on. And let's notice that kid, 1,000%.
Yeah. But if we're addressing this, like this child who's struggling is getting all the attention and he's acting out, perhaps that kid who's not struggling will then say, well, if I was doing...
Ich habe mir schon jetzt auch gemacht, that he is struggling. Just nicht in the topics. Gebe mal zweite Sache. Nimm die Kinder, lege mal an in a Math Class, lass mal sehen. Lege mal an in a Gym, lass mal sehen, wie sie struggelt nicht dort. Also wie man sagt, der Riesen, für was Sport sie geht für Kinder, was sie werden gewohnt hat, ja, die können sein der beste Basketball Player in school, aber die hast nicht dein Teammate, you can't win the game, die kannst nicht unnehmen der ganze andere Team von der anderen Seite. Sie lernt dich aus, mentally, zu haben other people. Like, also with the Navy SEALs, right, wenn sie gehen durch die Training, the ganze group acts as one. If somebody messes up, the ganze team has to go back and start again because you have to act as one.
Doing X, Y, and Z, I would get that attention. And I would get the flat screen that my parents are buying me because they need to, keep me happy. And so on.
I don't want to just push him. Nachi's been honest all night. It's a podcast.
He's been honest. Was shocked? Ich habe gemeint, dass he's working with honesty.
Here I'll go the most. Here I'll tell you something.
PUBG Master, morgen, I might play, after the live, I might play a half hour to test out the system with you guys.
Really? I've been being honest, but Nachi's pushing, so I'll tell you the truth.
With Rishos, yes?
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you something that I'm going to say publicly. Many a kid has asked to come to Waterbury, asked their parents, could I go to Waterbury Mesefta? And the
Ich habe Masa, Sam, there's gesagt teaching your kids about stock market and how to invest. A friend of mine, sein Kind hat nicht geborgt, gedacht, etwas machen, etwas stand in school, something, and the Tat hat gegeben $40. Sie will kaufen mal sich ein Schürzlich mit Sachen, and she made a coffee stand. Ich habe nicht verstanden, die ganze Masse. Basically, the Kind hat verkauft coffees, and she made $120. Sie kommen, der Tat hat gegeben, zurück die $40. Said, Mans, the Kind hat nicht gewollt, and I was there, so I observed the situation. Ich rief mich by the way, nicht nur die das geben 40, das zurückzahlen dann Lohn, und auch das geben Percentage. In the Kind hat es, so ich es ist schwerer wegzugeben Geld, aber du hast gemacht Geld, darfst das geben. Sie gibt Lessons, wenn man lernt das. Wenn Kinder sollen können geben, haben ganze Geld-Situations, lernen sie auch später for life. Der erste Mal, die zahlst nicht ein Bill, ist noch der Chasana. And that's crazy.
parents like, you're not struggling like that. So the kids, what I have to like,
Or they can go on the street and become an unlicensed
so if I
pharmacist.
take off my yarmulke, and the kid's not doing that, I have to show you, I want to say the and I get in trouble for
Scheige es aus. Es ist nicht nur dafke Stock Market, sich auszulernen, wegzulegen Geld. Wo tippt man mit Geld? Die ganze Procedure. Man lernt keili gut nicht.
this. Nachi asked, do I feel misunderstood? I have been asked by people, big people, I like the yeshiva, but you take him in. He's stark.
Ach, ein Friede ist gerät.
Stark guys could come to our base mesh, the most stark. You don't have to have trouble. You have to want sincerity. That's it. There are guys in yeshiva who come to minyanim, who say, you'd come to the Waterbury base mesh, you'd be shocked. There's range, and I don't look at it.
Einer weiß, wie die Yeshiva ist. Soll mir e-mailen dem Adress. Mit der Schreie hinfuhren. Gaat mal ein Video.
Place, somebody else wants to define, that's for other people. Place of sincerity, I don't define who that's for. And I want to say, like Nachi's saying, the kid who's like just sincere. What about me? That kid, the most sincere, I promise. He needs encouragement, understanding, connection. He's not on autopilot. And he might finish the Masechta 14 times. And everybody's proud. And keeping away, I have seen cases where we try to keep him. He's so stark, protect him from that kid, that honest kid. And not that he's not honest for 14 times. But he's also has his insecurities. And sometimes his insecurities, I was that kid. Insecurities can drive you to finish 14 times. But there could be...
En wer darf das? Wer darf, als ein Kind soll finishen etwas 14 times? Wo ist es geschehen mit 1? What is this rat race? Sie kann ärgert's nicht.
Insecurities and worries and uncomfortableness in him. And to really understand, don't just like protect him from the troubled kids. I want to tell you a story. Avi would appreciate this, so I'll tell you a story. We have a guy, the last night of Yeshiva, Abi's been.
Ze voelt een beetje wie de case. Ik denk years ago. En me gevraagd, Viggy, whatever. Wat dit zeg? Ga moet tegen arbeid. En dan moet ze gezegd, oh, wow, die arbeid zei geht. You know, c'est eine normale Sache. Das ist doch geen Sorgen. Ze geht aan die arbeid. Vraag ik hem später, oh, so, die hast da Tochter? Ja, but nicht mijn Tochter. Mijn Tochter darf a learning boy. But in general is it nicht kein Problem. Jeder eine will jenem, so het. Mijn kind zoals aangeht. Maar als Yeshiva, ich mal gleich verpflegt sagen, jeder will lernen Yeshiva, wie man Kind 6 sagen. Mee Kim an 11. Keiner will nicht lernen Yeshiva, wie sie fangt sich an 11. So jeder einer für sich will the best. Darf er sich mal wegbacken.
There, many guys in Yeshiva share their story the last night. They share their story with the Yeshiva. It went last year for 9.5 hours. In front of 250 people, guys get up and share their story. There's a lot of crying. It's the most remarkable night. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've gone to rehabs and listened to people speak honestly. I've gone to meetings. It's a aim of what I see the last night. It's mind-boggling. And guys, nobody has to speak. And nobody's forced, nobody's
Sind kan test. Verheert nicht.
pressured. Plenty of guys don't speak. Last year, maybe 35, 40 guys spoke, 30, 35, something in that range. It went 9.5 hours. People with not the most attention span, we sat there crying a lot. And people talk and say their story. So one bacher gets up and says, can I tell my story? I was the best guy in my class, 4th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Similar to the kid Reb Nachi spoke about. So I was stark. He was stark.
He was stark.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Great top guy. He got into a top Masifta in America.
Woo.
9th grade, he was acing it. Now he's a top kid in a top Masifta acing it. Late in 9th grade, late in the year, he starts hanging in his own, when he goes back home in his community with kids in 7-Eleven, kids struggling. By 10th grade, he's smoking pot. Late in 10th grade, he's chucked out of his yeshiva. Sorry to talk that way. So
Why are you
he
sorry?
said the last night in Waterbury, he said, I am the poster child of keep your kid away from the dangerous kids. Look what they felled the mighty one. I was top, and being around them, look what happened. Keep your kids.
This is weil het nicht gehad genig education. Ik darf education. Es ist okay zu sein, schwachere. Whatever schwach meint. That's it. Aus dem gehalten, also shelter, und het geöffnet ein bisschen der Brain. All of a sudden is er weer spring. Er is totally out of the box. Fertig.
From the bad kids.
YL.
He said, I'd like to tell my story tonight. I won't say his whole story. He described the life his father had run away from home. He described the life of a life that you go to shul and you don't feel connected to our people. And he said he had tremendous motivation to be a top kid. He thought that would get him acceptance. And he got into a top place. He was fighting for something. He said in middle of 9th grade, he said to himself,
What am I fighting for?
I feel like the same outsider. I still feel empty.
Yeah.
I feel lonely. He described in detail what it means. Yeah, mine. And he goes up to his aliyah as a bacher, and he has no father next to him. He described what that feels like and what that looks like. And he said, I was fighting for something, a connection, a part of something, a father figure. He said, in middle of 9th grade, I said to myself, you fool, for 5 years, you're doing the same thing. Said, I was looking for something. I went to the bad kids. Said, there.
Hat nicht getroffen, gut nicht. Nicht getroffen, Kashim Chayas dorten. Ja.
I'll get friendship, connection. I'll get something. He said it didn't work, but I was looking for something. He then thanked the guys in Yeshiva. Said, this is the first time in my life I feel friendship, connection, honesty. Thank you to the guys.
We'll be right back to this episode, but
that I asked, I was thinking while you were answering,
He was thinking while he was answering. Meinte, shows gehet was again for.
Maybe it's a misconception that as if a kid who's actually whole and good can just flip a switch and say, nah, I'm not good anymore. Maybe the whole thing is just a perception from the outside. Maybe it's a facade.
Yes.
Maybe he never really was whole inside.
Yep.
I like that.
And maybe we have to put more trust in these kids.
Do you know the guys have been saying their story the last night for 8 years now. Do you know not one kid ever said I was a stark kid and the bad kid got me? Not one kid on a night of honesty. When kids are describing the most horrific, describing going through the deepest trauma, the victim and the bad guy in things. On a night you would faint from the honesty. You can't. There's a nurse in Yeshiva who's not yet a Yid who wants to become a Yid. He became a Maimon. He comes to davening every single day before he works in Yeshiva. He prays. I brought him a prayer shawl, and he prays with us. And he was there the whole night. A lot of the night, he told me it changed my life. He's a father, a grandfather. Told me it changed. It's a night of honesty. Do you know nobody ever said that thing we worry, that kid's influencing my son? We're hearing the guys talk. The parents said, my son's good, just his friends influence him. Do you know I never once heard that the last night? Never once on a night of honesty. Now you might ask, but Chazal say, Adam nimshach achas v'vaisav. A person's affected by his environment. Yes, but why is he going there? Look deeper. He had different friends. Why is he going to that friend? Yes, a person's impacted by their friends. Every kid knows that. And we all know that that's the truth. So why is he going to that friend, not this friend?
Why is he going?
Look deeper. Ask questions. Find out. Understand. We must understand. The question is, I was still going back to that. What did you ask, Nachi?
Don't even remember.
We both forgot. Okay.
Yeah. That's how good the answer was. I think the answer that maybe a lot of, I don't know what generation they're part of, will answer when you look at this generation is Yiddish Sederis, right? But when you look at this next generation, what gives you hope? What do you see in them that says the future of Klal Yisrael is in such...
Goyret Yiddish, die zoekt, I don't really have friends. Keiner hat nicht echt friends. Friends is a Sache, was... if you do have, you gotta cherish it.
Good hands.
Jacob, hello and welcome.
There's an honesty, there's a plugging in.
Go that it is in the do all dan friends. So can you go in the house and friends? Checkmate.
To where I'm at, to how things are hitting me, a want for connection, not. There was an age, and rightfully, we were soldiers, rightfully. We're on the backs of our parents and grandparents. My grandmother was a soldier, remarkable human being. Anything I have in the world's from Ioma. She was 16, her parents were killed by the Nazis. Her siblings killed by the Nazis. Her aunts and uncles killed by the Nazis. Her entire city was murdered by the Nazis, my grandmother. And at 16... she was alone in the world. She had one brother who survived, who she didn't know about for a couple of years. He was in a different continent. And my holy grandmother persevered, was an incredible human being. And she was a soldier, remarkable. And we come from soldiers. We stand on our grandparents' back and our parents. And now we have a generation that's digging in. There's a lot of anxiety. My kids have anxiety that I don't have because I was rooted in action. I ignored those parts of me. If I met somebody I was uncomfortable, I just told them of art.
Shia.
You just told me of art 5 minutes ago.
See, I'm still doing it. You see that? And all of a sudden, our kids are very, very present and feeling and experiencing. They're very, very present. That's today's dar, is experiencing and feeling. And it gives me, I feel the footsteps, ikvis of the Mashiach.
The problem is with a podcast that nothing really is going to change. This is a feel-good Zach. Kimt, red, me feel good, but nobody's really changing. This is the biggest problem. Shia, wo schraubst du? We nehmen den mittelsten Finger, was heißt Levi, in... Ah, ich habe es gelernt, der Pummel, ich habe es verstanden bis jetzt. Gut.
It's the footsteps of Mashiach that there's like the psukim describe the generation of Mashiach, that a heart of stone is going to become a lave busser. I did not know how to cry till I met the guys of today. I'm learning how to cry. I cry much more. Not often enough, but much more. And guys, there's a bacher in the yeshiva who's writing a sefer today's Grown Worlds. This bacher, when he came, to your eyes, you might have said a troubled kid. To me, he changed my life. And he always just say, you love when I cry. I was like, oh. But through him, I'm starting to learn to cry. Real men cry. Real people cry. Real people feel. Can I do something weird, Nachi?
Yeah, this whole thing is weird, so let's go.
Let's up the weird.
Warum ist die ganze Sache weird, Nachi? It's not weird.
This one, I don't think it's ever happened. This is a meaningful people, which means a Yid. I'm a Yid. We're all meaningful people. I want to call up another meaningful person, which means a Yid. There's a guy in Yeshiva who composed the song. I'm begging him to be a dorm counselor in Yeshiva. I want him to impact guys. And he composed the song, I Believe We're Souls. We have an neshama that wants Hashem. He composed the song that dazzles me, because it speaks about the soul, that we have a soul. Would it be weird in the middle of meaningful people to call up a meaningful guy to sing a song that we have a soul?
Yeah. It would be weird. Let's do it.
I'll do the other guitar here.
Okay, you get the guitar. How far?
You say I could talk for long. You get a guitar, and I want you to
I can talk for long.
that song alive. Let's do it.
What floor are you on? What's your room number? Okay, don't say. Wait, could you look at your guitar?
I don't have a guitar.
Oh, I thought you said, who has a guitar here?
Yeah, he's yours. Okay, I'm gonna run again.
Shimmy, not too fast.
Oh, the trouble.
Okay, we're getting the guitar. Okay, so a question that came in, I see one of the messages, and we're not stalling for the guitar. We actually have more questions, don't worry. When a parent sees they're getting a shidduch resume.
We're all ready for a good cry, but my tears are frozen. We gotta unfroze it. We gotta unfreeze it, Brooklyn.
For their daughter, and they see by the high school base manager Waterbury and the Sifta, and let's say they don't have the knowledge that we all have in this room tonight. Their heart skips a beat, and they hesitate. Why? What would,
I think I'm unleashing like a little troublemaker in me. My favorite shidduch call in the world is when people try to dance around the question. We don't want to insult, and then there's like a funny like entranceway into I just want to know, nothing personal. Just want to know. Then it's like blurts out. Does he want to What do you do? I love when that happens. It's so much fun. I usually, if you're one of the people who was played with, I usually play around with them.
Do?
Oh, do I have a fun time?
Can we do that right now? All right, Rabbi Kalish, so I see that.
One second.
I like to cry, but only 3 a.m. Wie Menschen weinen zusammen mit die 3 a.m., Izzy? A sach Menschen. And it would be the people that you wouldn't even think for a second that they cry. Oh, they cry.
Yeah, my phone.
Es ist bechlall nicht allein.
Oh, it's a flip phone.
Gras eigen in de Früh allein zerweint.
Just wanted to show that off.
Yeah, that thing has waist though.
Jeder gemacht von Fleisch im Bein.
My smartphone is right in here.
Yeah.
Weint so hoch, man kann hören die Haken von der Zahn.
Okay, Kalish, I see on the resume that it says that he went to Waterbury. I know he's a Talmud Chacham, and he probably has such potential. And his midas out of this world. But what did he do wrong? Play with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's the most fun. This conversation can go many, many directions, all different ways to go with. But the short of it is many of our youth, and it doesn't mean. I usually will tell them that please don't judge a kid who didn't go to Waterbury. Please don't just look for Waterbury shidduch. No, I would understand that. But if the kid didn't go, many of our kids are authentic and want truth. Do not judge a kid.
See what you did there.
So that's usually some version of that. But I do want to say that there's a range in yeshiva. And in a serious way, people can ask, but I'm afraid, like, did this whole thing become by getting people? We're going to have papers outside that you can sign up for the yeshiva.
No, let's just do an appeal right now. We're building a new base manager. That's what this is about.
I just want to say that I get it, that a lot of chinuch is from that place of fear. That my kids with that. I don't like the tier system, the stark. I think we're hurting the strong kid. I think we really hurt the strong. Produce, keep up. I don't think that's what serving Hashem is.
Ich habe ein Feeling, ich habe jetzt gekickt auf Google Maps, ich habe ein Feeling, als ich bin schon gewähnt, leben in einer Yeshiva, weil ich gearbeitet war, noch mal hingenommen. I don't know.
I think a person should be a Talmud Chacham Mufla, Kol HaTorah Kula. But I think the space is sincerity. Be sincere. Play within yourself. Be sincere. Find what resonates. You have a soul. You really want it, like it. It's not the space to become famous. It's not what it is. Biggest yidden in the world. The biggest yidden are just sincere. If it was, I'm sitting up here loud. I have an older brother who fixes. It's a person who finished Shas. He is a lot bigger than I, a lot bigger. He's quiet. That's probably one of the ways that he's bigger. Can I tell you a funny story, Nachum? Our Rebbe, we both have shaykhs to Yeshiva Rockaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rabbi
What was your experience? I'm kidding. Only good, of course. Yeah.
Only good.
Rabbi Per,
I doubt that.
my Rebbe, his father called him up and said, tell a certain bacher in Yeshiva Rockaway that his grandfather was a tzaddik. There were two brothers, I remember their names, two brothers. And Rabbi Per's father said, tell these two boys that their grandfather was a tzaddik. I knew them from Europe, from Letta. So my Rebbe said, they're American Bachrim. They're not going to understand what that means at tzaddik. What do you mean there was a tzaddik? So his father, who was a huge person, thinks for a minute and says, please tell those two boys that their grandfather was a quiet man.
Ooh, wow.
What does that say about us right now?
What you're doing is wonderful, because publicity and being in the public is not a bad thing. It actually gives the opportunity to speak about the sincerity. And sincerity is awesome, and it's important to put sincerity to the public. There's nothing wrong with publicity. One could survive publicity. There's nothing wrong with fame. One could survive these things, but it has to stay authentic. What Nachi does is phenomenal. To ever, chinuch is very public. All chinuch, so you're in a public, you could bring to a public space authenticity and sincerity. You're allowing on your podcast this crazy guy to bring up another beautiful person to sing a song. You should be in the public space, Nachi. So there's nothing wrong in front if we can maintain the authenticity, and we want our youth to shoot for that which is real.
Getting deep for a second. So we haven't been deep the whole time, but a boy who's listening right now at home, and he's not getting any of this love that you mentioned at home, he's not getting it in yeshiva, and he's really, really
Go get a job.
struggling. And he's listening to this podcast, Daniel Kalish, and he could hear a message from you directly. I want you to close your eyes and picture that boy. He's sitting right here in this room in the front row, and speak to him.
Come here, my child.
I'm impressed. Question after question. I didn't know what would be tonight.
Neither did I.
There was no rehearsing, and I just want to thank Nachi for what he's doing and what he does. I want to appreciate a lot. This is not a ploy to ignore the question. That question, somebody's sitting somewhere and he's not getting the validation, and maybe he's stark, maybe he's not, but he feels, is he being noticed, appreciated, is he being seen? And if he feels he's not, and he might even be producing and having some success, but is he noticed? I would say to find somebody, they're real people all around. We're beautiful people. Anybody sitting in this hotel, you walk around.
This is in Bordeaux for Pesach program.
Crazy good people, really good people.
Für wie geht treffen Menschen? Wie? Lernt in Yeshiva. Ich meine, is in a Yeshiva und geht daheim. Where is he going anywhere? Treffen Menschen? Crazy. So no going geht, also kann ganz an Tate und sagen, kick. Yeshiva doesn't do it for me. Let's find a job maybe. Let me start living life.
I'm going to say it, the name. I'm not like looking to just shout out a name cheaply. My wife and I come back here. We're amazed by this place. There's a closeness I feel in the hallway. I just feel I pass by Yehuda, we hug each other. There's sincerity.
Well, I think Yehuda should find another program next year.
There's goodness, Dr. Lipschitz. Every year, you watch him learn. You watch him with his beautiful family. Really amazing people. I do want to say that there's a family in here that everything I'm speaking about, celebrating the soul, people count and matter. There's a family here that I've seen.
Deze zijn een takke de mensen gaan, we zijn een große Nebbachs. Riesige Nebbachs. En dem gaat man nur auf drugs.
When I see somebody Makarev struggling kids, Makarev elderly people, little kids, I'm the most impressed when it's every Yid. no exception. There's a family here, no matter what age you are, no matter how stark you look or don't look, they're warm to the Adar family. It's amazing to see. In turn, this hotel is the smallest hotel. Because of the Adars, it's the smallest hotel I've ever seen in my life. We started out like a big crowd. We're no longer big. Big is like there were a lot of foreigners. There were a lot of like, when the Adars are 2 days in, we're like a tiny little family. Like, I don't think we should invite some people here. No, you want to hold Rebbetzin Adar? Shouldn't we invite people here? I think it's like just a small place. They should invite some people here. But the family, the way they respect everything. And I want to say to that person listening that we're good people. Find somebody you trust. Only you. I don't like teaching youngsters. Somebody once came to Waterbury, a very intelligent person.
How does someone youngster find a person that they can trust? As it's nicht die Yeshiva and it's nicht their parents.
And he asked if he can interview some of our guys. Aaron, you like this?
He's talking about Shimi Adar. I have no idea who Shimi Adar is.
4 guys in a room. And he said, come on, how stupid are you? To one guy, it was his 4th yeshiva. To a guy he spoke to that day, it was his 11th yeshiva. So he said, how stupid are you guys? You go to different yeshivas. Okay, I don't like this. And now you like bought the Kool-Aid. What, they hug you so nicely? They say nice things? Come on. You guys look like real dudes. You fall for this? That's what he asked these 4 guys.
Oh, I see.
That's a hard-hitting question. So come on, you guys fall for this?
Rick, was heißt fall? For a hug? For a bisschen liebschaft? For a bisschen love? A bisschen a backbone? Yeah. What would be that? I mean, it is gefreest as if you're a loser. But in general, why? Yeah.
So a very intelligent guy looked him in the face and he said back, he said, I don't trust, I'm not taught here, trust this Rebbe, trust that Rebbe. He said, I didn't come here and trust one Rebbe. I've learned to trust and believe in myself. He said, I can't be cynical about me. I'm not trusting him. I trust me. I have found stuff in me. The unique part about the yeshiva and what I want for yeshivas is their space for people. Hamidu Talmidim Harbe. We're not a yeshiva of answers. We're a yeshiva, there's room for people and their problems. There's room for me and my problems. There's room for kids.
Isn't that what yeshiva should be in the first place? A plaats wie einer kann kommen mit seinen Problems?
We all got our questions. I'm speaking...
En man nimmt nicht keer von der Problems als Bucher in die Yeshiva. Wenn soll man kennen? Man noch de gasten wenn man hat 4 Kinder?
Pesach to a brilliant Yid. I'm like dazzled by his brilliance. He has questions that I'm trying to like plug into. Yidden have big questions that are really cool questions, bring us places. I want to be smart.
Ganz vergessen von der Gitarre, is he?
There's room for people and their questions.
And just imagine a guy spielen horrible. Das guy's on a ekelige song, huh?
People and their challenges. People and their worries. It's just space. There's really space. I say to that youngster, you don't have to switch. Stay in your yeshiva. Find somebody in your shul, in your family, in your yeshiva that you can open up and speak to and connect to. I promise they're out there. You can find somebody. I beg you, trust yourself. You'll sense it. And if you don't trust somebody, don't open up to them. Nobody can tell you, trust me. No. You have an innate sense. Nikarim divrei emes. I beg that kid, find somebody you trust. If you're a boy, find a man. You're a girl, find a woman. Find a lady you trust and talk. Talk real. Don't hold back. Talk real. Find it.
Liebe Schmelzer sagt, nicht jeder eine kann hören deine Probleme. So be careful when you choose. I don't know how this works, like how you would choose someone when die bist in the Heim other than yeshiva, but
people you could trust, open up, speak. It helps.
So before I call up Avi Friedler for a nice, beautiful song with his guitar, can we all make some noise so people know here on camera that there's people in the room here? Yeah?
Okay, now we know.
I think we'll get some noise. If I can call up somebody who's honest, who's impacted my life, who's changed my life, I can call up one of my close friends. Avi Friedler, please come up. Thank you, Phil.
Oh, here we go. Let's go.
When is the girls' based out Waterbury Bistacos out test?
I just want to say publicly that you can all help me. I have asked Mrs. Adar, my wife and I have asked Mrs. Adar, we want to open that school hopefully in short relative amount of time, we've asked Ms. Adar to please teach there. So if anybody here can help us, Rev Daniel and I are both going to, we're fellow Daniels, and we're both going to try to work on this together. If anybody can assist us, just by hands or noise, if you think Ms. Adar should teach, then Ms. Linda is welcome.
What's the pay?
How much does the polar bear make?
This
Does she bat 320?
Only the uniforms are tutus.
Oh, okay.
Van woes richt zich zit ze de mic.
Our school going to be in trouble already. This song is about finding the soul. The soul that wants Hashem. I could ask Avi to please present. The song is written by Avi.
Thank you, Avi.
Oh, Bishos.
Good guitar, thank you.
I wanna go.
I think there's an ocean behind my eyes. All these emotions I can't deny. And I try to hold it, but I'm getting tired.
Ik viel wie ze daar apart van de voice.
And I cry and I feel something I can't deny. 'Cause somehow inside there's something alive waiting for me to live. And I can't describe the feeling of hope that never dies. For as long as I live, I'm choosing to be alive. Alive.
The golden buzzer.
I'm choosing to be alive.
Sitting in my truck.
And when the tears break through the walls that I put up, and I see the truth.
Brooklyn, ik dacht nog dat hem draaien de screen is, dus dat thumbs up.
The fall is needed.
Hij zal definitely niet quitten on their job.
Somehow inside, it's something alive, waiting for me
Honesty, huh?
to live.
If it would be honest, it would be like, sir, you suck. All right, back to the music. I'm kidding. Just
And I can't describe the feeling of
sounds like
that never dies. For as long as I live, somehow inside, there's something alive waiting for me to live. And I can't describe the feeling of hope that never dies. For as long as I live, I'm choosing to be alive.
Zij het litfish. Ik heb hem maar hoog, weil er is anders. Alright, ich meine, sind wir dann mit dem. Ich habe nicht verstanden den Ding, to be quite honest. Ich verstehe, was er gemeint herauszubringen von dem ganzen Podcast, to be honest. Basically, man darf umkicken ein Kind für das Kind. Gut nicht für seine Achievements, nicht hat er geendigt Schaß, 14 Mal gelernt. In auch hat er größere Sache, man darf stoppen verheeren. Die verheeren sagt, darf er rausfliehen von der Window. But ich weiß nicht, wie viel Change er machen. Hopefully er das machen. Es hat 41,000 Views from May 3rd. Also er macht da viele Change für 5 Menschen, hat sich das gelohnt. Und er will nur ein Mensch. So. Don't hold back. Ich habe es gegeben ein Like, retten dich von Like. Die bist noch du bis jetzt, ich habe es hit der Like-Button, sie geht da lange riesige Weg. All right. This is the end from the review. I was definitely enjoyed, to be quite honest. Ich liebe gerade Eulen, was du gewinnt. Ich lege auf einen Link du auf mein Amazon. Again, ich bin ein Affiliate. Gevreman, ich bin shit auf mit Jeff Bezos. Das ist kaufende Item. But die Kaufsachen an Amazon, die klicks days for the next 24 hours. Bekomme ich von dir, bekomme ich Commission. So, es ist 10:40. Es ist spät. So, we're gonna end it here. We'll geben Schkoich für jeder eine, was du gewinnt. So habe ich schwer zu sagen, goodbye. Vielleicht muss ich try. Always not easy. So we'll geben Schkoich für jeder eine, was du gewinnt, für eine lange Zeit, eine kurze Zeit, for the whole thing. Vielleicht ist es aber gut, sind auf eine andere Tab. In gemacht. Jenem Tab, mit Jut. Und warum ich, mein Dear. Thank you. We'll auch geben ein Like. We'll auch geben ein Schkoich für alle Likers, Sharers, Commenters, Subscribers. Für alle Menschen, die sind du. Und du bist noch kein Subscriber.
What are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. Auch the like button.
If you don't mind. Sie hilft mich in the channel raus tremendously. Und ich will geben ein Shoutout zu Penny, Sally in Brooklyn. Für geben ein Superchat. And geben membership. I really do appreciate it. To help to keep the channel going. So that's that. Housekeeping. Morgen live. 8:45 in the free. Ich fange um 8:45. Ich gebe erg de najas. Beerdig bis Nana Zeiger. In Nana Zeiger fangt man an. With other things. Gonna buy Bercy's video Amazon link. Doing my part. Thank you, Sally. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. And until next time. Stay kind to one another. Peace.